GLM 5.2 is out, and a lot of people are doing some crazy stuff with it, like making these games and doing all this really silly stuff. And a lot of people right now are also comparing it to Opus 4.8. And I thought, why don't we also try to compare this against Composer 2.5? For those who don't know, Cursor has released this thing called Composer 2.5. And I'll give you a little bit of a heads up of what we're going to be doing. We're going to try to see how good GLM 5.2 or Composer 2.5 is at also making iOS apps. I'm curious to see, I'm going to make a transcription app as part of like converting my stuff over to like a native app. And I'm trying to see, can it take some of these concepts that I've been designing in Claude Design and then turn them over into, actually real apps. So the problem is that a lot of people are using one model, like typically the expensive Opus model, and you tend to eat up credits pretty quickly once you start to kind of go down that rabbit hole. Another thing too is people are also looking for like different alternatives for token efficiency. So can like the GLM 5.2, is that a good enough model so that we can just start to just hand off like bigger designs and smaller tasks and stuff like that? And I thought this would be a good time to actually kind of also let you know about the Droid harness. So I'm going to be taking a look at that Factory's Droid harness, which is amazing. I've been using it for a long time. A lot of you who have been following these streams have known about it, but I think there's a lot of other people who don't really know, and they're kind of slept on because the team is so cracked and they're so busy shipping. The reason I bring them up as well is because they rank the top in Terminal Bench and for an agentic harness, and you can bring your own models. So you're not stuck with using the models that they provide. They give you a pricing multiplier on top of them, but you can also bring your own open source models. So I have a friend named 0xSERO, Sero, and he actually has like a crazy rig. Like he'll have like a room full of like, NVIDIA cards, and then he just loads up his local models and then uses that for his preferred, open model usage and stuff like that. So there's a lot of flexibility here, and there's a lot of things that we could go ahead and cover. My name is Fernando. I used to be an engineer at Apple for over 12 years, and now basically I'm just kind of coding with you live using AI. So because it's a live stream, that means you could just slide in your comments down below, and we are about to go crazy because I've been cooking for the last couple of days, and I'm also going to let you in on a secret that I've been working on. It's called wave engineering. Forget loops, forget all that stuff. Waves are where it's at, and the future is here. A good day to be maxing with GLM. Yeah, that's basically what we're going to go ahead and do. Also, big shout outs to Super Jerry, who became a member. I want to give you a big shout outs. Everyone who's been supporting the channel, y'all are real ones. I know there's some people who've been supporting it for a long time. There's a lot of different ways, and right now we're just basically kind of focusing on making sure I deliver good quality stuff to you guys, basically for free. So like no matter what level you're at, you can get a whole bunch of stuff. Making cookies, 100% not on diet, bro. Brian Peterson, we can get back on track. We'll get there. We'll get there. One day at a time, right? But let's go ahead and see if I can get this cracking. So what I was really interesting, if you haven't set it up with Factory, if you just go to StartMyAI, they actually have like a new web app and a new desktop app. And so the desktop app, and also have the new terminal app as well. So with the actual desktop app, you can actually select Droid Core GLM 5.2. And one of the things I like about the Droid harness is that they already use EXA for their web search. So if you're using like if you want to use this model inside of like Claude Code, or if you want to use it inside of Codex, you'll have to change the base URLs and change other configurations, and then configure like EXA AI for like the web search and stuff, which is my favorite, MCP server for using web search. I also like ref.tools as well for searching through GitHub repos. Both of them combined together are extremely powerful, and I do reference them a lot for information. But just getting started, if you wanted to, you don't have to use the Droid Core version here that they have. This is something that Droid provides, and they do a 0.55x multiplier on, whatever you're asking for here. So also, you can change the commands, and you can change like the type of mode it's in, whether it's spec mode or mission mode. So what's cool about mission control, and this is something that we'll probably try to do today, is you've probably heard of people talk about spinning up like 50 million 50 like different terminal windows and doing all this stuff to basically do all the planning and basically do the implementation and QA verification and combine a whole bunch of skills. And if that's overwhelming to you, I want to introduce you to this thing called Missions, which is pretty fire from Factory AI. So one of the cool things about Missions, and we'll probably try to do one of these today, is the fact that we're going to kick one of these off, but this will automatically start to create the milestones for you. But the powerful paradigm here out of the whole thing is that you can select the model that does the orchestration. And then you can select the model that's going to do actually the worker. The worker is the one who's going to write the code for you. And the secret here is to have a validator that is a different model. So in this case, we can use GPT 5.5 and we can set that at like medium to do the verification, or high, like if we wanted an even higher verification. So, and then the worker B here can actually just be GLM 5.2. And so the advantage of that is that our token usage for writing all of the tokens can actually come from this little bank here. And the validator can come from a much smarter model to do the validation. So having the different models is going to give you that advantage that you can't get anywhere else. Also, configuring this was just clicking. Literally, we don't have to like spend a bunch of time configuring these things and open these different Tmux sessions. This is just a desktop app. So Missions is now available on the desktop. You could just download the factory version here. And then your orchestrator can be literally any model. So I like to use a frontier model for this. And obviously, like for me, max thinking is probably the best for this type of thing. So the orchestrator is the one that's going to have that long context window, and it's going to be able to do a lot of reasoning. Opus as a orchestrator is probably the most powerful model for this type of thing. And that's how you can then kind of spread out your token budget, because you don't always need the smartest model like Opus Max thinking and everything to do the implementation, especially if it's like implementing code to center a div. I mean, like an open source model can do that pretty nicely for you. So if you're wondering, okay, Ray, I see these model selection here, but they're the factory models. I don't know if you see this little bottom section over here. These are custom models that I have. So I have a Nematron 3 Ultra that's in a home lab somewhere on the other side of the world somewhere that I can tap into if I want to also use that. I have GLM 5 on Fireworks. So that's my own API key, everything else separate from factory. So I don't have to have a subscription. And then also have my own custom model here with GLM 4.7 Flash on my DGX Spark. So if I wanted to do like a worker task on that, I can send that over. The tokens per second on the Spark is about like 30 tokens per second to 20. So it's much slower. So it just depends on the speed that you want to move and how much stuff you really want to automate as far as like setting these models to do these different things. And so I think this is probably the most slept on feature that people aren't talking about, is this missions thing and how configurable this is. But this is super powerful paradigm, because then you can start to see, it's going to basically start kicking off like all these different windows, and they'll start to work and do work for you. So I was able to do like a full-on migration to a new version of software. And a part of the validator stuff and the way that missions work is that they'll actually start scheduling tests for you. And then they'll basically, start to write the tests and verify the work with the validator model that everything works, and kind of do its own loop back, kind of all autonomously. Doesn't require any fancy skill files, doesn't require you to babysit it. You just kind of set it and then let it go. But it makes sure it spends enough time up front to clarify what you're trying to do. And then it sends it off doing all these various techniques. They've continued to improve this since I've talked about them maybe earlier this year when this whole feature launched. And I will be trying to meet the Factory AI team again this coming up, because they have a event coming called the Model Independence Day. I think it's on the 29th or 28th in San Francisco. And that's the week of AI Engineer. So that's going to have a lot of stuff that's going to be going on for the, AI Engineer and all those different things. So extremely cool. So let's get going. I want to set up a mission for this. So I think the mission that I want to set up is something that I haven't done before, but I thought it'd be really cool. So let's go ahead and I'm going to set up a new mission. Go to mission control, a new mission. And so the mission app is describe the goal, review and approve the mission plan. Droid executes the feature autonomously, and the validation occurs at milestones. So here's the concepts that we talked about a little bit earlier. Can I make this plus? Okay. So the orchestrator says the plans manages the mission, and the workers execute the individual features, and it groups this stuff by milestones. So this is not for simple tasks. It's designed for complex multi-step work. and runs for hours or days autonomously. Significantly higher token usage compared to regular stuff. So that's just kind of like a little primer there. And I'm going to go ahead and add a new project. We're going to say, I think what we're going to do is workspace. Let's see. I'm going to see real-time voice, Mac, real-time voice app. Oops. Real-time voice demo. Oh, I want to make that translate app. I think that's, yeah, I'll do that. Okay. I'm going to have a real-time voice translator app on the Mac. So that way, if you're traveling anywhere in the world, you can just pop it up and you'll see the real-time translations. I already built a web version of this, but I'm going to build this. Okay, this is going to be crazy. Okay. This is going to be fire. Okay, let's go. And then what I'll do is, if the code is good enough, I'll probably open source it. Why not? Yeah, as a bonus. Super Jerry, thank you so much. I do appreciate you being a member. Glad I finally added missions to their app for sure. Can't wait to read about the waves engineering. Is this yours or inspired by the crazy stuff going on? So it's a little bit of everything, Mr. Contrino. The waves engineering kind of started off like 3 days ago on stream, and kind of made these discoveries over time that like looping can waste your tokens. And to be honest, mission control from Droid or missions is basically the best expression of that. It's like the most polished expression, right? They have it down at every single step of the way. My version is kind of like a lightweight version of that. It's just like the first, it's a lot for what I do. If I have like a problem I don't really understand, so a wave can kind of scope a problem and kind of let me see what the edges are and then kind of start to filter in and get a little bit more narrow. So it's a multi-step process. And that's kind of like wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. So as you start to kind of go into like a forest, you can kind of start to narrow and figure out the shape of the forest. And then you kind of start to go down into areas that you really want to do. Like I want to go see, where the lake is. I want to go see where the fish is. And these are the things that I want to put together. So that's kind of, you could say it's kind of orchestration or parallel orchestration. It's one expression of it, but it's the edges that are defined and the way things get validated actually is the signal that comes back that makes the wave really important, and that's kind of what makes the loop stop, right? So either it's the model that does the verification that makes the loop kind of complete, or it's the human that says, okay, no, I want to move in this direction now, because if you just let the model decide, sometimes it can just keep looping on a goal that maybe like it can already accomplish the goal and it can get poisoned if it finds contradiction information, and then it'll just kind of undo the work that it did. So that's kind of the disadvantage of the loop, and you won't really know unless you have really good verification like protocols, right? So that's kind of why I started to define this. It's like loops are cool, but you have to be an engineer and kind of really know and set those boundaries really explicitly. But if you're not, it's better to kind of just be more hands-off and then just kind of give it a direction. And so language models are kind of random, and we're using the randomness of models in our whole thing. So it's kind of quantum. I have a little bit of a late night members only stream talking about it, and I will talk about it more in the blog post, but I just kind of want to give you a heads up on that. Let's see. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and try this out. So I'm going to try to see if I can put this in, and I'm just going to take a screenshot like this, because I think that's all it needs. Actually, can I just export this? How do I export this? Present, share, export. Oh, wow. Oh, project archive, PDF. I think I'll do a standalone HTML. Oh, that'd be cool. Okay. So I'm going to export this app. I think it low-key might build an entire app. But I don't want the mission to do that. I just want it to just build just this part. This part would just be fire right here, the live dictation one. This is all I want, because this is what I want. I want to build a Mac OS app or an iOS app. Super simple, super clean. And yeah, and then we'll have the mission build out. Okay, cool. And so the model that I'm going to use here for the real-time voice is going to be the Opus 4.8. And then we're going to go like straight up max reasoning. And then we're in mission mode. And then I think, do I have MCPs enabled? It's still loading. Okay, load skills. Let me just check for the updates and then reinstall the app. Check again. Okay, then close. Let me quit factory. Did you check the build macOS app plugin in Codex? Yes. I haven't really got a chance to fully play with it. I definitely want to play with that. That'd be kind of cool. Here we go. Oh, it's still loading. Yeah, there's a problem loading the skills files, because that'd be super cool if it could do that. That's the whole point of this thing, mission control. So yeah, let me launch into a new mission. Yes, I'm in mission mode, and then, okay, I got the MCPs up. Perfect. Exa. Ref. Perfect. Xcode build MCP. And then let me just select the right model. Boop, boop. Okay. And then, yeah, I think on our missions, enter. Okay. Let me just make this smaller just to make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, perfect. All right. So we have a new mission that we're about to enter. And let me just grab that screenshot real quick. Do I have that? Okay. I'm going to drag the screenshot in here. Boop. Okay, cool. I want to make a macOS and iOS app where I'm doing a real-time transcription, and we're going to be using the GPT Real-Time 2 transcription stuff from OpenAI. And the way that I want to implement this is that at first I want to do some tests by storing the API key on Keychain. So we're going to ask the user to put their API key on the phone. And when we store the API key, we're going to use the Keychain. So that way it stays on device and it never leaves us. And we don't have to worry about a server or anything. This is just going to be testing from the phone directly to OpenAI's endpoint to make sure that the streaming stuff can work and that we can work through some of the UI artifacts. Later on, we're going to do an implementation using AI proxy, and aiproxy.com is going to be where we kind of get that full thing figured out, because that's going to have the split key encryption, all the different stuff. And that way, if we want to ship our own version of this and have people pay per month, they can also do that as a premium option. But that'll be later on. Our first task really for this MVP is to get the app stood up. And so as far as the transcription, as you can see, I've designed a screen that I've attached, which shows the words that we have pulled up that we've confidently said that like this is the word. And then the other words that we think are being figured out in terms of like context and vocabulary and these various things there. And I also want to add the translation piece, because OpenAI also has a translation feature, which will allow us to take whatever is being said, and then we can see the translation, but we can also hear the translation back, which is very, very powerful, especially if someone is wearing AirPods and so forth. And so I want you to take a look and do some research as well, because you'll have to look up some of the recent skills. I should have some skill files around building stuff with iOS. And then I also want to make sure that we follow all the principles for building software, especially if like we're using iOS 26. I know I have iOS 27 installed, and you may see some of that stuff around, but there's a lot of documentation right now for iOS 26, and I want to be able to like launch this in the App Store and ship that. Okay. I think that's pretty much about it. Okay. And then I think, let me see if I can give it some of the documentation I have for OpenAI Real-Time 2. Yeah, so I'll give it some of this. GPT Real-Time. I say use ref tools and exa code MCPs to help with research. Okay. Exa code research. Okay. And then, so we have GPT Real-Time 2. What else? Translate. There's a translate endpoint. Translate. Okay, yeah, GPT Real-Time Translate. This one is fire. This one's absolutely crazy. So we did a web version of this, so now we're basically making our the Mac version of this, which would be crazy. So the pricing for the translate is 3 cents per minute. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so we have live translation. Here we go. Real-time translation. And then what else? We have transcription, real-time transcription. Perfect. Speech to text. Yeah, we're not going to use the GPT-4o. We're just going to use GPT real-time. Okay. Voice agents, transcription, real-time transcription. Yeah. Okay. We want everything to be real-time. So we're specifically using the real-time translate and then real-time transcription, which is why I put these documents there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and send this on a mission right now. And so this should be able to ask us some more clarifying questions. And then we're going to see, yeah, I have Opus 4.8 for the orchestrator. For the worker, I'm going to have GLM 5.2. And we're just going to see how good this is at that. And then for the model here for GPT 5.5, whoops. And then I'm going to do this one, medium. I'm going to do high for the validator. Perfect. Okay. So we're currently in the mission right now. And so what missions is going to do is going to right now enter the planning phase. And it says, I'll start by invoking the mission and the worker design skills to guide this properly. So now it's going to basically start to define the mission. Is Droid overkill for no development? Not really, actually, because you can scope your changes down. But the other part that you get when you use missions is that it's going to create tests for us. So one of the things that I don't do a lot, and I'm very guilty of, is not creating tests because I really want to quickly prototype a lot. So in missions, like by default, you'll get the software development lifecycle built in, right? So you're going to have a way of planning, a way of implementing, and a way of like testing your software. And so it's really important because in order for it to verify that this, whatever we're doing is true, it's going to spend a lot of time trying to design tests and design like user types of tests that you want to do. And so a lot of times people have broken down like different skills to do this, but it's what they're doing here is actually kind of, it's really, really nice. Yeah. So it's like the screens you've shared show 3 things: live transcription, confident tentative words, saved live notes, sessions, titles, timestamps, and translations. Would this first MVP include AI proxy split key explicitly a later phase or not an MVP? So I'll say everything. Okay, so, so what it should include? I think it says everything: transcription, notes, translation, text, spoken back. Oh, I like it all. Let's do it all. So the end-to-end validation requires the real OpenAI real-time API. Could you provide a working API key with access to GPT real-time translate now? Without it, the real-time streaming features cannot be validated for real. Yeah, I'll provide a key now. I have a key, but I need to confirm the model access. Not yet. I plan to add it later. Plan around it. I'll add later. Yeah, I'll add later. Okay. How should we build and test on Apple platforms? This affects how we validate microphone real time. Apple developer account, physical available. Simulator only. Developer account, no physical account yet. Yeah, simulator for now. The project presence for shared iOS, macOS codebase, a single multi-platform app target, shared Swift UI if OS when needed, a shared Swift package, core login, and separate. No, we're going to do a single multi-platform. Perfect. Cool. These are really good questions. Hey, what's going on? What up, man? It's lights out again. Are you on the other side of the world? Is there a model that's good for systems deployment / management as opposed to config? What type of deployments are you doing? I think GPT 5.5 is pretty damn good if you just do high. And Opus is phenomenal, obviously. If you're talking about open models, you may want to experiment with Nematron 3 Ultra because they have a lot of tool calling stuff. But it's going to take a lot of wrangling. Like Nematron 3 Ultra is very, very like, reminds me of GPT-5. Like everything you tell it to do, it will do it, right? and it's just going to keep following procedures. It's not smart to like think out of the box like Opus does. It's like, I think you mean this, so I'm going to go ahead and do that type of thing. So that's kind of why we're thinking about that. Cool. So let's see what's going on here. So now we've kicked off the mission and what's going on. So the full MVP, no OpenAI key yet. So we have let me load the research MCP tools and pull the authoritative API docs that so now it's pulling the documents. And so with this type of model, we're using Opus 4.8. And I like max thinking because a lot of times it's extremely thorough and it's going to grab all the information we need. And then that as an orchestrator is a very, very powerful paradigm because now we can take advantage of those things. And it's going to use Droid GLM 5.2 to do the implementation. And then we're going to have the validator at GPT 5.5. So this would be really cool to see how Droid Core can work into this because it's only 0.55 credits as opposed to 2x credits for the Opus model. And then the validator model is just going to be GPT 5.5. That's a phenomenal model for doing validations. It's really fast, but it's also very, very procedural and very thorough. So that's what's up. That's cool. Let's see. So what I was thinking about doing is I want to see if I can make a similar app in Cursor at the same time, just using one model. And I think what I can do is like try to see if I can use Composer instead of like that. Because this is like a very special mode that Factory has. And I think, yeah, I mean, this should be done pretty fast, I feel. And so we're just going to let it do its thing here while this is doing its thing. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the other stuff. So yesterday, or when I was playing around live, we're kind of testing out how the model performs. And it was basically, GLM 5.5 can take a prompt and, especially if you have like a design prompt that you have from Claude Design and then have it like design a brand new blog or something like that. So let's see, I think, did I convert everything to waves already? Yeah, waves. Let's rename. Okay, cool. Let's see. So yeah, like last night on stream, I did a blog redesign and I used my little skill with Composer and we were able to ship, I think this is using Composer to ship the blog stuff. And so compared that to like GLM 5.5 and let's see if I can see this here. So yeah, with GLM 5.5, all of these design instructions were baked in and it did a pretty good job, like designing everything, even like for mobile mode. But one of the things it did miss was mobile mode and we had to like do a subsequent like test pass to tell GLM 5.5 to saying, hey, make sure you get the mobile mode. So, that compared to like the Composer 2.5, Composer 2.5 got it, but the Composer 2.5 missed something about fonts. And so, I mean, they're kind of like hand in hand. And it just depends on like maybe what platform you're using and how you're bringing in the key for GLM 5.5. So just kind of really interesting. Let's see what's going on. Why doesn't Droid support max thinking level on GLM 5.2? I don't know. I'll ask the team. I don't know if they feel like it's unnecessary or because another thing too is like their own harness does a lot of work too already. So yeah, I'll definitely ask the team. Sounds interesting. Hola, what's going on, man? I appreciate it. Everyone's waking up. Wake and bake. What's cooking, bro? We're baking right now. Is bacon. So what we're making right now, for those who are just popping in, is we are basically, I'm going to see if I can make a Mac app using GLM 5.2 as the model who's going to write the code. And then we're going to have GPT 5.5 kind of validate that for us. And Opus 4.8 is the one who's really doing the orchestration work. So I'm using an intelligent model to try to keep everything in context and then try to use an open model like 5.2, GLM 5.2 to do all the coding tasks because you don't always need the specific model, like the smartest to write all the code. we can use the intelligence for the planning, the long step thinking, and so forth in Opus, and then delegate the just implementation details to a less smarter model. And then the advantage is that we're going to use a separate model like GPT 5.5. And then this model right here is going to be the one that's going to be doing our validation. So GPT 5.5 is the one's, you know what would be funny if this cap was open, it just went, but anyways, this model right here will be doing all of the validation. So just in case you're wondering, yes, this is a GPT 5.5 model. Yes, this was given to me by OpenAI. No, they do not pay my bills. I wish they did. And OpenAI, if you want to do some partnerships, I'm totally open to that. But hey, I'm also happy that I got invited to go hang out with Sam Altman. And I also got to get these really cool little keys. So this is my Codex keys, and I can reset my limits just by hitting the key. So if it lights up, reset limits, reset limits, reset limits, reset limits. And you can kind of see it has a little cool cloud logo and everything like that. It's pretty fire, right? So yeah. No, it's pretty fun. I really appreciate all the different companies who've supported things. Speaking of which, this is the cursor keyboard. So this was given away at Compile, and I got to choose my color selection. I chose the lighter color one, which was pretty fire. And so it's been pretty fun to kind of hang out. There's Cursor Compose. It was like kind of like this, special event that took place in San Francisco. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, live dictation app, we're going to do that. I have some of the settings and designs and everything. I didn't give it the full design. I just gave it this screenshot that we're working from. And we're using missions because it's probably one of the easiest ways to configure multiple models without like pulling out your hair. And I know that this type of system ships software. So what's nice about it is that you can bring your own models. Like these are open source models that are running either on a machine or in some lab somewhere or something that's going on. Or you can bring your own API keys as well. So you can, for each step of the process, you don't have to pay out of pocket or pay a subscription. You could just have access to this, which is absolutely crazy. So yeah. So this is going to be really fire because this is going to be really crazy. Mad respect. Love this project. Yeah. I mean, I need one of those reset buttons, right? It is fire merch, right? The merch is crazy fire. I mean, look at this, bro. Like I was at a hackathon using open router stuff and they're like, do you want a sweater? I'm like, heck yes, I want the sweater, bro. I'm in the Bay Area. I'm full in AI, bro. Like the area around me is GPU rich. I don't have the GPUs, but my buddies got GPUs. So, hey, big shout outs to the token reset budget. Big shout out to Tebow. Let's give him a round of applause by going for the token resets. So yeah, that's what's up. Oh man, this stream is so funny. The hoodie is dope, right? I mean, I'm gonna just pull up like this. Like, hey, you got those tokens, bro? Yo, with the GPT 5.5, let's just pull up and be like, just pull up the people, be like, hey, you got those tokens? This is like a bazooka. I'm a token blaster. Yeah. This is so crazy. Yeah. You have the whole NVIDIA thing. Oh yeah, NVIDIA, bro. NVIDIA's fire. I love those folks. They're funny. They're so cool. Oh yeah, the stickers too. Yeah. Yo, the compile bag though, I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty fire. This little compile bag. I'm gonna see if I can zoom in on this. So this is the bag. So it says COMPILE. So that's compile. And then inside, I think it's got some stickers and a whole bunch of crazy stuff. These are all stickers, so I could put them somewhere. Probably on water bottles. I like putting stickers on water bottles, also on suitcases. Okay. Enough flexing, Ray. Enough flexing. We got it. I'm just gonna pull up like this. Okay, that's funny. Okay. Hi, I'm here again. What's going on, man? Yeah, I'm just having a moment right now. I'm in Swag City. I'm definitely Phil Blanchett. I'm so swagged out right now. Yeah, yeah. If you send me swag, I'll probably put it somewhere here on the stream. Like, I still got the knob keyboard, which I love. I bought this myself. This is like my favorite. You know what's funny? I actually prefer this keyboard over this one. It's just something so light. I might actually go back to this, but right now I'm just trying to ride the cursor keyboard because it takes like a week to get a feel for it, all the keys and everything, and really feel it out. I actually have this is funny because this is actually a cloth, a microfiber cloth that I use to clean materials, and so I have that as my armrest. So it kind of has double purpose, so that way I can have my wrists and everything. Flick of the wrist. Early MS swag is money now. Really? The old T-shirts, keep it all. Well, you know what? I have early Apple swag too, but I just give it away. I don't think if you hold on to things, they mean a lot for certain things, and I feel like I don't know. I'm kind of like letting go of more things, if you know what I mean. Just like these days, I was just like, if I get something, I'm just gonna give it away to something else. So yeah, the only thing I really kept around is like these claw things from like the Open Claw event. I think this is a whole movement of claw that like it just symbolizes like a whole lot of like where like AI kind of made that big shift and then kind of really started to reprogram people's minds. So yeah, this is crazy. My bad, my bad, my bad. All right, let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on with our app. So we're still in phase 1. We're doing some research. So I think it just spun off some agents to do some research right now. So sub-agent research. Yeah, so it's doing a bunch of research. So it has like 3 different sub-agents that are doing research right now, and it's doing a lot of thinking. And then it's going to come back with our app pattern. Okay, cool. All right, so now that we have that going on, I'm going to try to see if I can build this app like inside a cursor and then see kind of like give it the same prompts and kind of use my new technique. So I've come up with this technique called Wave, which is very similar to missions in some ways. Now that I was thinking about it, I was explaining missions. I was like, that's actually what I'm doing for Wave. But this is what we call like wave engineering. So this is like my skill that I currently have, rfer.me/skills. So https://rfer.me/skills. So if you click that link, that'll take you to my skills file. And in that skills file right now has a lot of my really good sauce in here. So we go to rfer.me/skills. In skills here, what you'll see is a collection of my skills that I put together. The really fire one is called the bug review board. So you can point your AI agent at an app and it QAs basically like a normal user. But the other advantage of this is that you'll receive reports and various things that it could do a review on them and try to fix the bugs live. It just in several turns. And so this is a really, really cool. And this is especially helpful. And I feel like it's a better use of your token budget if you have something that can drive a web browser, drive Xcode, drive some other thing. Your code is actually running in a real runtime, and then it's clicking away and testing things. So that type of feedback is super good use of your token budgets, as opposed to looking at diffs. What ends up happening with language models, if you keep having them go in a loop to just look at every single part of your code, what ends up happening is they'll start to get context poisoning. So they'll say, oh, maybe this is wrong. Oh, maybe this is wrong. So if you ever got into overthinking yourself, you're like, maybe I should do this, but then this can happen. And then this can happen. And then this, and then you never take action on anything. And then maybe you do take action. But the crazy part of language models is if you tell them to take action on every single situation, you'll actually end up back maybe in a worse position than you were before. So the highest signal for me is the runtime. When the code is actually running and a user is interacting, that feedback of things in the way they're supposed to work is a higher signal noise than just spending a lot of time looping on code. So I always value that no matter where I'm at, no matter what industry, no matter how much experience you have coding. I've worked with people who have had like 30 years experience coding, even as like a very junior person, right? in a room full of like senior architects. And, early on in my career, I would always push for things I saw in runtimes, and I was always right, like 99% of the times, because I would be able to find ways to reproduce them and then show them in the code. Your assumptions that that you design aren't true because of like physical things, like literally physical things, maybe chips differentiation. There is like other factors that they're not aware of how systems are combined together. So I'm very much like everything is born from a system, everything in nature kind of works together. It's not like having isolated components are very important for designing, but for actually testing, it's kind of becoming true for AI. And this is kind of something that I'm distilling down in my skill files, which is really important to know. So this is why I've started to kind of put that knowledge into here. I like so much knowledge is just in this skill alone, which is fire. This parallel orchestrate skill is something that we're now converting. It's going to be called wave engineering. And so a wave, in essence, is just a verifiable way to end a loop. And so loops, to me, are good if you have a very clear understanding of what you want to loop on, but most people aren't engineers, and the randomness of language models don't allow us to kind of set those boundaries. So having a wave will allow us to kind of do some exploration to find the edges, and the edges are found by the validators and those things. So the validators can be you as a human or the language model itself. And then as it takes shape, then you can send a second wave out to do a more focused task and kind of keep going down that way. So that's kind of the essence of what that is. And it's going to just kind of keep going in that direction, if you know what I mean. So that'd be what's up at there. This set of skills here for Bootstrap iOS are for literally just bootstrapping projects. So if you haven't set up any of your skills files, this points to a lot of the best skills for making iOS projects, from testing to core data, Swift UI, all the cool stuff. So you can go ahead and take a look at that. All of that is in there. It's so much fire. People will probably charge you thousands of dollars to enter their school communities or whatever. My school community is free. All the stuff is free here. It's all on GitHub. Just trying to provide as much value to you, because I feel like if we're building together, we can kind of lift each other up. And I think that's the whole point of using AI. And this is kind of why I want to like give back, right? So people gave to me when I got my career started at Apple. Like a lot of people spend a lot of time helping me out. So I wanted to kind of do that as I'm learning myself. So as I learn things, I'm going to keep sharing them here live for free. So you can just watch. If you want to like do other stuff, I'll probably have different things going on as far as like cohorts or, one-to-one sessions and so forth. So I'll have some more information on that. I'm still kind of developing what that is. But as of right now, I'm just having the time of my life building software and then trying to distill down things that have come up in my previous career so that they're actually useful for you and for everyone else while, basically doing AI engineering research. So yeah, really, really cool. So all of this is here right now. Let's see how we're doing with our app. So it's come back with some more questions for us. So what does it say here? So the toolchain is confirmed. It has iPhone 16 Pro. It's random. I think it's my machine right here. Perfect. So the core seems the protocols for the keychain. So secret store, real-time provider, audio source. We have the pipeline for this. Perfect. And then the Swift data persistence. Nice. Okay. So now it's going to ask 4 questions. So the minimum deployment target. The toolchain fully supports iOS 26 simulators. Targeting 26 gives clean code. Full liquid glass. Yes. Perfect. So we're going to do iOS 26 just from that going forward. In translation mode, OpenAI streams Delta only. No final word signals. So the confident versus gray styling can't come from the API there. How should the translation render the text? Single session show source translation as solid confident text. Simpler and it's lower cost. Yeah, we don't need a dual session. We're just going to do single session. Which translation target languages should the MVP offer in the picker? The source language is auto-detected. We'll just do a broad list. All of the GPT real time. This is cool. I'm really excited. I've been wanting to build this app, but now I'm just going to have it built live for us on stream. So big shout outs to Factory, confirm the no validation key approach, build and validate the full app on the simulator using deterministic future provider with OpenAI accuracy, AirPods, fixture driven simulator validation. Perfect. Cool. Awesome. Factory AI is a really great harness. I don't have a subscription for them, but I use my subscription with GPT with it, and it's for work, and so you use it with our cloud keys. Yes, there are ways that people have been proxying their keys so they can use them inside the Droid harness. So that is also a possibility. My friend Coriolis has made a proxy for it, and I'll probably hit him up to see where that's at, and I'll probably add it to the description below. If you guys know him or see him on stream or see him show up, tell him to show up and add the link into here, so that way he can do it, because that would be really cool. And I'm not sure if he's kept that up to date or what the whole status is on that. But File Reaper, I think you're in the Discord from my early days. Let me know if you're using that, his proxy thing, or what you're using for that. Jamie just came across this stream. Would be awesome to have your super friendly streams too. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, man. Oh, beginner friend. Yeah. I'll do some beginner friendly stuff. I think, let me know what you want me to cover. I can probably do that, because a lot of time we're just kind of waiting for software. As you see, we're kind of just waiting for work to take place. So it's a perfect time to teach. It's a perfect time to kind of hang out and vibe, and or just yap about things. So we have this here. So yeah, this is doing some thinking. Currently using Vibe Proxy. Okay, let's see. Vibe Proxy is, I think it's this one, right? Native macOS menu bar to use your Claude Code and ChatGPT subscription. AI coding tools, no API keys needed. So you haven't found that Claude Code has, like, they haven't banned you for doing the proxy stuff yet? I'm just really curious, because I know that they've started to lock down, but haven't really been sure how strict they have been recently, especially when you're using inside a Droid. They have the factory CLI set up, even the AMP one. Okay. Oh yeah, AMP. Oh yeah, I'll try the new AMP stuff. I forgot about that. Let's see, Ghosty. Let's see, CD workspace ls CD real time. Okay. No, for Claude, I use keys. Oh, okay. For GPT, I use the auth. Okay. So if you proxy your Claude subscription, there's an extremely high likelihood that you'll get found out about, and they'll just ban your account. So just FYI. I think you're smart to use the API keys for Claude, because that's actually how you're supposed to be using it. But sometimes I think they may bill you for extra usage if they find out that it's not coming from the Claude Code harness. So yeah, we'll see. I think that's a really good point that you've called out there. So yeah, so that's Vibe Proxy. Okay, so let's figure out what's going on now. So as of now, what do we have here? So the decisions are locked in. We're basically making a real-time translation app from my Claude design. So in Claude design, we've designed some screens and stuff, and all I gave it was this screenshot here below. So this is for a Mac OS and an iOS app. And so the language model, or actually a combination of models here, is what we're going to be doing, because this is more, for me, this is the most realistic way that I would use the GLM 5.2 model. I know a lot of people are doing tests right now just with the model by itself, and they're just saying, can the model by itself be smart enough to do things? And so just from watching those YouTube videos and seeing other people use it, yes, it seems like it can be good at designing and being good at other things. But I think the key insight today is going to be, what if we use this model in conjunction with other models? Can that just slide into my workflow like I normally would slide in a GPT 5.5 or an Opus model? Why not? Right? And to me, the best way to do that is inside of Factory, because Factory has this thing called missions, which will allow you to do orchestration. So the orchestration basically just means this is the guy who's doing the brains. He's the guy who's like the project manager. So you want the best project manager, CEO type to keep all that stuff in their head and understand everything that's going on. And they're the ones who are going to delegate the work to a worker bee over here, right? So if you own a business and you architected a franchise like McDonald's, they don't have PhD people that have to hire to serve you the burgers. They find people who can work at a minimum wage. And the only reason they've been able to do that is because they hired PhD level people who are at the business level, who are really up here, who understand how to take things and proceduralize them, and then how to order ingredients and do this high level meta stuff, so that those people who are working, all they have to do is just follow a set of instructions that a high schooler can do. and serve the same consistent thing no matter where it's at in the world. So that's kind of the advantage of like an orchestrator to a person who's just working, right? So you don't have, there's wage disparity because the tasks that are required have already been fully thought out. And so that's the advantage that we get at the orchestrator. That's the workflow that we've been sending here because we gave it in our mission the description for what we wanted. Like this is the app. This is what we want to make, a translation and also real-time, text that shows up. And then it's spent the time to go do the research to figure out what we really need and then spawn it off some sub-agents by itself. And what's nice about this whole workflow is that I didn't have to spend like most of my weeks configuring tmux sessions, terminal sessions, debugging, handoffs between, one model provider to the other and context management and all the silliness that usually comes with trying to do all this stuff, myself. So all of this stuff is built in, and this is kind of what we're getting here. And the other advantage of using a system like Factory AI is the fact that they're so good at also testing things and leaving those artifacts inside of your repo so that next time you come back to it, you can continue to do testing. So we already see that's already kicked off like several phases, and we're now confirmed that design architecture. So now we're going through the infrastructure and the dependency stuff. So this is going to start to work on those phases of the software. And this is now kicked off a sub-agent to go ahead and do that work. So it's pretty cool. Amazing advice and clarity. Yes. Yeah, especially for beginners. If you're beginning out, I feel like Factory, you can't go wrong. It's a really good way to get into this. It's a different paradigm from using this than like Claude Code or like Cursor and so forth, and even like Codex, which is cool. Because to do this in Codex, you'd have to tell the language model your intent, but then you kind of have to know what these techniques are to tell Codex what to do. So you can just say to Codex thing, I want to have, literally just give a screenshot of this Factory AI thing saying, I want to have this, like if you just give Codex the screenshot of this, say, I want to have models set up like this. Can you configure this inside of Codex? It could probably try to figure out how to do that, right? But then why just use Factory. You could already use it inside. So that's the other thing. So if you're wondering, okay, can you have your own open source models? Yes, you could do that. I know this feels like I'm repeating myself because people who've been on the stream earlier kind of already know this, and people who've seen my live streams using Factory have seen this before. But there's a lot of people who are still kind of new to this, and I feel like this is probably super slept on, and I don't think a lot of people really know how crazy Factory is as a team. They're super cracked. The guy who made this is one. He came up with this whole concept over, I think, winter break, right? Like December through January, spent all every single day for almost 2 months straight cooking, and he's the top engineer in AI, like prompting and everything. And the reason why I say that is because no one else has been able to do the techniques. They're like 8 months behind or more. And Factory AI has always been kind of ahead of the curve. So last year, I was able to run one session with 40 million tokens just in one session. Didn't have to change chats or anything, right? So they were one of the first pioneers to do long context understanding, compression, and do that extremely well. And I was able to ship a feature, validate it, qualify all in one session. It was crazy. And they wrote an amazing blog post. Everyone slept on it until we started using it and talking about it. And then everyone else caught on. And guess everyone else has adopted it, right? So they make this stuff public. They're not trying to gatekeep and say, we can't tell you what our secrets are. They actually believe in just sharing everything out as much as possible and sharing these techniques. So I'm going to try to have Theo on again. When we did I think earlier this year, they did a launch with missions. We did a live stream together and he talked a little bit about that. And I think it's more relevant now as the models are getting smarter and people are trying to use different models like GLM 5.2. We finally have open source models who are really, really good. When you use them in these types of patterns, they're even more powerful because now every model can kind of stand alone. Like you can have a designer, right? Who's really good. So if you have a guy who does good design and is doing the implementation, they'll be able to take that nuance from the orchestrator and make stuff look pretty good. And if you have something that follows instructions very well, like GPT-5 models, you can combine that superpower into here. And then now you have a really solid workflow. So this just alone is a very powerful paradigm. And I think a lot of people have been trying to build this, in open source land. And there's a lot of different really cool projects that do this too. Some of them burn a lot of tokens as well. And then they can kind of go a little wild. But yeah, these guys are like pretty much the pioneers of this stuff. So I think it's really, really fire that they're able to do this. So it's going to do some high risk commands. So it's going to create a temporary directory, run Xcode simulator. I'm just trying to make sure there's no RF stuff in here. I'm actually just reading the script on the fly. So it's going to run a Python script to, okay, insert, yeah, yes, allow. This looks pretty good. Is Messenger, yeah, you can bring your own key. Yep. That's what's crazy, right? Yeah, their long context just feels different. Yeah. Hey, good morning, Augment OS. How's it going, man? Is there any new features they are working on for Factory? Oh, Wiki. Oh my God, I got to show you this one's fire. Let me see. Can I see it here? Factory. Yeah. So the Wiki one is fire. So let's go back to app here. If I go to here and go to Wiki. So you can make, so I would always spend so much time inside of like all these other apps like Cursor and stuff to try to make this. And this is super powerful, especially if you work on a team. So if you do /wiki, you can create a wiki on your code base. And what's crazy is every time you check in code, you can have a wiki updated automatically. So the documentation will update on the fly. I can't tell you how helpful this is, especially for people onboarding or for open source projects or anything. And so let me just go through this in some detail real quick. So Wiki is a new feature that they just announced a couple days ago, right? So this is my Pebbles app. It tells you what my app does. It even tells you the text stack that is used. I didn't have to prompt or anything. I just did the / command and it did everything. So we can go to the architecture and you can get like a high level flow of what my architecture is for the app. All built in. So this is on the web, also on the desktop. I think it's on the desktop app. So I have a little bit of a sandwich situation going on with my app, and you can even read about that here. And since this is like an iOS app, I have some of the actor isolations that I've also decided to use. So the main actor and the AI proxy stuff. And then it even tells you about like my composition and also how my actual data flow is going to flow in the app. This is crazy because I didn't have to prompt any of this stuff to generate. I would have to make separate prompts previously just to get some of these things kind of situated. So these are just absolutely fire ways to do this. And the best part is that it's going forward, as you check stuff in, this can just continually be run and updated and checked in with your code. So this is checked in, this wiki thing is actually checked in. So if you wanted to run this and see it in like a different environment, you can totally do that. So it even like, I think this is crazy. Here's a whole glossary of stuff that I have as far as what it's being shown. Like this is so helpful. So you're like, what's a Pebble state? Like these are classes, like you would have to, as a developer, read through all the different sections of the code to understand, okay, like there's this thing I see he keeps setting up as a Pebble scene. What is that? So it's just a sprite kit scene that owns other character stuff for the rig. And then Pebbles has a state. So you can just start glossing by this. You can see like the number of files as well. There's some little bit of lore. So the lore will basically go through your Git tags and commit history and try to understand like what happened. So you can see my first demo app, how I migrated to UIKit, and then how I started to go into cards and then went into collection and components, created a card lifecycle hardening. And like you can see my whole cycle here for how I did this. In 4 days, I did like, I don't know, like a month's worth of work, which is crazy. I built this in 3 weeks, entire code base, 63 Swift files, 16,000 lines, 113 commits. So yeah, single developer, includes Fuel UIKit migration, 9 component factory, sprite kit character with physics, real-time voice. Yeah, so this is my prototype. This is pretty cool. So I like how it says like how to contribute. This is all part of the factory wiki stuff. So testing as well. Let's see, Pebbles character. Yeah, so it'll break down different systems that you have. So in my case, I have a stage. I have a real-time system here that's working. So all of that's kind of broken down so you can understand what's going on there. And then I also have a character. So people are wondering, with my character, you can tap different places and do different things. So I have that set up as a scene. And then the character design is basically a stone. And then I use sprite nodes, obviously. So this broke it all down. It's like so beautiful. This is probably like the best. This is probably one of my most favorite features that no one's talking about yet. I'm going to have a whole video on this. And this is even telling you how I put together the components to make everything come together. So like whether there's a builder, there's like, wow, this is crazy. It's kind of fun. Yeah. Wow, this is crazy. No way. Yo, this has everything. Oh my god, the data models too. Let's go. Uh this is the thing I love about Swift code too. It's like really easy to read. It's almost like reading Python. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So that's the factory wiki thing. You can select the repo and just go ahead and generate them, for whatever I have shipped and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's factory wiki. And then I'm going to probably generate one for this too. Yeah. Bro, my mailman just rolled up in a Corolla wagon and didn't know they made those. Yo, that's crazy. Where are you at? Where in the world are you? Pebbles, what a name. Yeah, Pebbles is fire, bro. I got to show you the demo. Yeah. So once you make it using /wiki, you don't need to run wiki for the update. I think it updates automatically. I forget. Let me just double check that for you because it's such a new feature. I'm still kind of playing around with it. Congrats on smashing us in soccer hard last night. Are you from Australia? No hard feeling. 2 a.m. here. And we'll be coming back to watch the rest of the stream. 2 hours. Huge fan already. Thanks, man. Thanks. Much love to our Australians. I don't know if you've seen, there's like a whole TikTok meme right now on like Koreans and Mexicans, because I'm also part Mexican. And so like it's been going crazy. As soon as Korean people show up to the airport, like they're just like cheering them on. They're singing their song. They're like embracing them. There's all this stuff that's going on, like all these people getting like drunk together. Like, I mean, it's kind of cute because like, the Mexican like background, if you ever know anyone who's Mexican, it's like there's a whole giant park. It's a party. There's cousins of cousins there. It feels very Hawaiian too. Hawaiian culture is the same way. Like everyone's super embracing. Like everyone's an uncle. Everyone's like, knows someone, right? Like you become an uncle in a family just solely by, associating and being around. But everyone's super inclusive. And it's like that kind of vibe and energy there, which is so fire. Like, so even though they're playing, it's not like they're rival, like, I hate you. Everyone's like, let's party, bro. Like, which is so cool. I really love that energy, that like World Cup feeling, so it's really cool. All right, so we're going to do some milestone granularity. So 7 milestones here. So the way they're going to break down this feature to build it out for us is they'll have the foundation and walking skeletons. So for the multi-platform, then the API key stuff, then the audio capture, then the real-time stuff, and then the notes, and then real-time translation, and then the polish for like the liquid glass and everything. Okay, so what I can do is all 7. More validation cycles, higher quality cost is going to cost more, or 5, just a leaner one, and fold and polish the features into milestones. More features, more milestones equals higher quality, but higher mission cost. Let's see. I think what I can do is merge foundation and keychain. Let's see. Where's foundation and keychain? So I think we can merge those. Yeah, let's just go faster and cheaper. I think that'll be easier. Confirm this a scrutiny gate command. So Xcode build tests, warnings as errors, good as skip. Yes, but skip the macOS target in the CI for now. Okay, yes, use those commands. Can you check as we can use the Xcode build MCP for most everything? Okay. Confirm boundaries. Self-contained mission using Xcode plus simulators, no servers or ports. Will not touch your other simulators data and get ignored secrets. Anything off limits I should know. No special constraints. How should we handle apps code signing? For simulator builds, none is needed. For the Mac OS app to run locally, we may need ad hoc signing. Yeah, simulator plus ad hoc local for now. Defer to app sourcing. Yep, perfect. Awesome. Factory Wiki generates all those docs. Yes, Ant. Factory Wiki is fire, and it generates all those docs. It's crazy. I'll be visiting Wilmington, North Carolina. Oh, headed home to Austin today. Okay. Shout out to my Mexicans. Let's go. Yo, big shout out to Scott Townsend. I just dropped, I just dropped Factory, and I need to reconsider if I can use a local model to defray the cost with a desktop app. I could not sustain missions cost escalations. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, especially, local models or, I think they also have the Nematron 3 Ultra model. Let's see. because that could also be really interesting for work. I haven't tried the Nematron model for work yet, but having a validator, yeah, Nematron is 0.4. The other thing too that people are talking about is the proxy stuff. So if you have a subscription to GPT 5.5, you can pipe in your subscription here. You could use GPT 5.5 like extra high or like high for an orchestrator, even medium, because it has a longer context window. And then the worker can be like a different model and then something else, or the worker can be like that could be really interesting. Yeah. But thank you so much, Scott, for the super chat. That's really appreciated. Yeah, y'all are on fire right now. Thank you. Cool. All right, let's see here. So what do we got going on right now? So everything is locked. We have 5 milestones awaiting approval. So now it's come up with our mission, and it's saying the reason why it looks kind of funny is because I made the font bigger so that y'all can read it. So this is our plan. So our plan is to build a native multi-platform Swift UI, single shared target, powered by OpenAI's real time. The MVP is to bring your own key. So the user pastes their key, which is only stored in the keychain and never leaves the device and no backend. So a later phase is out of scope, and we'll swap AI proxy split key later. So the core experience would be a live dictation, live notes, live translation, and platform tailored toward Mac teleprompter, Windows, whatever. A key constraint shaping the build is there's no OpenAI key. All integration points sit behind the protocol seams. Pretty cool. Okay. So here's the architecture. Here's the different milestones that look pretty good. Perfect. Yeah, I just want a prototype. I don't need anything super crazy. So it looks looking pretty good. Testing strategy, Swift test. Perfect. Xcode's UI tests and scrutiny gate here. Perfect. So here's the mission readiness. Okay, non-functional requirements. Perfect. Oh, Swift concurrency. Let's go. Let's go ahead and approve the mission. Okay. It's accepted. I don't have a referral for factory. Do they do referral keys? But just go ahead and click through. If you tag them on X saying I signed up using Ray's through Ray's live stream, I'm curious to see if they give you credits. Like, I'm really curious. Write that on X. I will ping them. I'll say, hey, these people are signing up from live stream. Can you give them extra credits? And I'll see if they drop like some extra credits for you. I don't see why not. If you sign up, just post on X saying, hey, I signed up through Ray's live stream. Just feel free to tag me on it, and then I'll throw the factory folks on there and see if they could just make it rain some tokens. Why not? Right? Like, if you're watching this right now, this is not a sponsored stream. I love them. Like, I've been working with them for a long time. I mean, they're probably the easiest to recommend, hands down, especially get people getting started, especially with the Claude code can be a little bit like much. But some engineers, a lot of engineers prefer like the Droid system, especially if they work in these different corporations, because they're like, they can control the models. They're not stuck with one model. All the extra software, the wiki, the enterprise. So if you have an enterprise plan, that's where it's like even crazier, because in the enterprise plan, you can select by default which models are going to be set up for you. Because this is kind of why some of my models always revert back to 4.6, because I need to update that setting. But the other part of it is like you can control like what level of control these models have access on the machine. So like they cannot do RMRFs. They can't do this. Like, you can lock everything down, pretty procedurally. And it's all just built into the account, which is crazy. So it's pretty cool. So and the other thing too, like that for enterprise accounts have, like the enterprise can have, like, if you're an employee and you join in, there's like a centralized skills file, centralized plugins, centralized everything. So if you're trying to have an employee contribute right away, they can immediately start, basically between the wiki and like your skills files, they could basically start making blog posts. They can start doing everything, which is crazy. It's just super easy to set up. So yeah. Last time they gave 200 million tokens, I blew through them within a day. Yeah. I could use tokens. I burned through $200 sub in a few months to go fast. Yeah. They definitely. I think so the thing I'm curious about right now, especially about what we're doing here, is the Droid core, right? So the GLM 5.2 model inside, because it's only 0.55 credits, right? So that allows us our prompts and everything to go much further. But the thing I think I mostly appreciate is like once the repo is bootstrapped, going on forward, I could just use a GPT-5 model on a subscription or whatever else for that as well. Every time Codex asks me, never ask for commands using. Oh my god! Yeah. So that's what's up. What are y'all working on? I'm really curious to see what you guys are cooking with. What my community's up to. If you haven't had a chance to check out StartMyAI, this is something free, right? So I'm trying to get together a little school community for those who are wanting to join, and I'm going to be dropping the new Wave thing, my Wave blog post here. I'm also going to drop a whole Wave blog post on X and also on my own blog as well. But like in here is probably where you can actually start like asking questions, and there's like a little forum stuff going on. So Luis, Matthew Morris, and Maximilian, Herman, and Green Smoothie are some of my like in the last 30 days, some of the top contributors. So those folks, a lot of this stuff right here that I have has been focused on. In here, I basically have been pointing people to Codex because this is probably the easiest way to get started. A lot of people who are trying to get started using AI don't really realize that you can automate a lot of your life. And all you have to do is just open Codex, install the plugins like for your favorite stuff that you want to automate, whether it's email. And then once you give it full access, you can just say, I want you to be a chief of staff. Check my connected tools and tell me what actually matters today. Just cut the noise aggressively, draft replies only, and don't send anything. And so you can set up an automation inside of Codex to do this every single day, go through your calendar, act as a morning operator or whatever you want to do. And then once you kind of get that stuff set up, then what you can try is then to have it control your computer and do other things. So that's like the bigger unlock. So once you start pointing it at real work to sort folders or, go through very specific things, what you can do now is like, I told it to go and make some shorts for me, right? So it would take my YouTube live stream, it pulled down the transcript by itself inside of Codex. It then understood what specific things could work well for shorts. This is the prompt, right? Like this is not much right here. And then basically by controlling the computer, it was able to open up Riverside in Chrome and then start to paste in all the different prompts so that it can start to clip stuff for me, right? So it's using Riverside to make the clips for me. And that's the power of Codex. And so I basically put this down in 3 days. All of this is for free. It's in the school community. So the thing that you want to do is enable that computer use with Chrome as well. So once you enable those, I kind of break it down in here. Memories is a really good feature because this over time really compounds and it just really feels like you don't have to explain very much over time. So they got a phenomenal thing. I put that in the classroom. I spread it out over 3 days because sometimes that can be overwhelming. So that's probably the best way. There's also a map of where these members are. So eventually we'll have enough people so I could say, hey, let's go ahead and do a meetup like in New York area. Looks like there's a bunch of people there. Or it looks like there's some people like in Midwest or in the Bay Area, wherever you guys are. Looks like this region over here, like in the UK, is popping off right now. So I might have to do like an event over here. In India, we have some folks. Yeah, Australia, let's go. Let's go. Oh, Sydney. I'd love to do a Sydney event. That'd be so crazy. So yeah, that's what's up. Guys, is apps that print a cringe name for a newsletter? I research a ton of apps and could publish 3 case studies a week. Don't get too bogged up on details. Just ship it, bro. Change it later if you need to, I think you'll learn more from your audience. It's like whatever you put out is what you attract. So just go ahead and do it. I think that's what's good. I'm trying to integrate AI, Codex, et cetera, to go high level so I can automate website deployment for contractors. Any advice? Welcome. Just tell that into Codex. Say, this is exactly what I'm trying to do. Like this thing you put into here, put it into Codex and say, ask me questions and help guide me so that we can make this dream a possibility. And then it will start to try to help you figure it out. Just have that back and forth because there's a lot of questions that you need to do. Just put it in. Yeah. Can you explain Factory's current pricing plans? I'm curious about the limits at each tier. Factory uses rolling rate limits across 5-hour windows. Yeah. So Factory pricing. So these are the different pricing plans, right? You have like enterprise teams and whatever. Mine's currently on an enterprise plan. um, basically you have these multipliers, and once you reach the limit after a certain window, you can then just start paying out of pocket for usage. So the paying out of pocket is what you'll see for those little multipliers, so like 0.5x the tokens. And so that's kind of what you'll see there. As far as like number of tokens, I think that's still kind of broad, and it's not really fully understood here because this is a thing that happened recently. But I think specifically, like, I would love some feedback on anyone who has been using it. Like, if you have the $200 a month, this is basically the equivalent to like a Claude Code plan, right? If you have one of these plans, how much token usage can you get out of it? That's kind of, I think that's probably what's changed from what's before, because it used to be basically $1 for, a million tokens, right? So if you had 200 million tokens to burn through, people would just burn through a $200 plan right away, where this has a 5-hour rolling window, and your multiplier can vary depending on the models that you're using. So at this tier for the plus, for the $100, it gets this thing called Droid computers. So you can actually manage computers on the cloud to do work for you. So that way you don't have to have your laptop open all the time. You can just have a computer that's running. It's basically a cloud computer for you as part of this thing, and it's running, and you have so many hours and you can do that. So that's what's crazy. So yeah. Yeah, glad they went that route. Yeah. Hey, I would take a day trip from NYC for a meetup. Fire, bro. That'd be crazy. Yeah. So I don't know if that really explains it, but yeah, let me know. I think y'all are welcome to try this. So we'll have that there. So how are we doing with our app? So the architecture is written. Now the validation contract per the test-driven development process. I'll spawn parallel area subagents to enumerate user surface and the key framing for this. So now it launched 6 parallel subagents to enumerate the user surface, and each gets the architecture, protocol, research, and the fixture mode constraint. Perfect. And so if I click this here, we're seeing this is phase 1 through 7, and it's going through all of our different phases. And now it's awaiting input from me. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Perfect. UK meetup would be good. Yo, that's crazy. Okay. So yeah, we're basically letting the mission run right now, and 8.8 million. Okay, we use 8.8 million tokens. Perfect. So yeah, at this process, this whole conversation and everything that I've been doing with the orchestrator and all that stuff, to get to where we're at with all the research has used, I think, 8.8 million, right? So cool. Right. Nice. I like that it has this up here. This is really helpful. Okay. Awesome. Let me run to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. So yeah, I'm going to have some, Composer 2.5 is really good. Yeah. Composer 2.5 is really good. I think what I can do, yeah, I was going to try to see if I can bootstrap this exact plan. I'm going to do the same thing. I think that's what I'll do right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this prompt. I think that's what I wanted to do in Cursor, but I just wanted to make sure I kicked off everything. Okay. So we're going to do something similar in Cursor, and we're going to try some of my like wave engineering stuff. So I think I just finished this. So it renamed this to /waves. Parallel orchestrate. Built-in cursor scale. Okay. Waves codex. Let's see, /codex. Okay. The old keywords and names: opt-in day 1, disable model invocation, waves. Okay. So workers aggregate, verify, and extend. This is basically my whole waves theory, and I'm going to have more information about this soon, but basically we have a triage step, we have a bounded wave action, and this is a skill file that I'm making that basically allows me to, it's basically inspired by missions, it's inspired by loops, it's inspired by a whole bunch of things, but we're kind of building this new paradigm. And so the whole point of this is so that we have, workers that can fan out information, aggregate. Then once you fan stuff out and try to understand what the shape of your problem is, you get all that information, you aggregate it back and try to figure out and verify, what is it that you're really working with. anything that's like that will poison the context will get dropped out, and then you'll start to get higher signal. And for that higher signal, then you do the extend. You send out another wave. So that's kind of the pattern here. So a bounded wave section can be like n equals 3 to 8. So less than or equal to 2 to 3 waves, 60-40 split, and then this will have a distilled handoff. So the anti-poisoning loop until done. Generate filter and tournaments. So this is another section that can happen, is because there's different ways to orchestrate agents that can be very useful. And I want to do this for you, or have the agent do it for you, instead of you trying to understand how to prompt engineer all these different things. You don't have to keep that in your head. Just think about waves. Waves are naturally occurring in nature, in physics. It's the perfect paradigm for using and coding with AI agents. So this is something that I think not committed. Per git safety, I left everything in a working tree. Okay, so I want to stage and review this. Let me see the changes real quick. Let me see. I do have to use the restroom though. So yeah, we have plugin install. So I'm changing it from parallel orchestrate to waves and waves codecs. Yeah, waves.zip. That's nice. So the motivating run, a health coach app. Okay, yeah, this is right. Discover. Okay, this is an example. So find patterns, goals, frustrations, research the stack, produce a roadmap. It has to run end to end. The reference model Fable fanned out 16 workers across 3 waves. Wave 1 was 8 message chunks, 1 workspace worker. So a lot of people were asking like, what's going to happen with Fable and so forth. And the whole reason why this waves concept came about is because I saw this cool behavior that Fable was doing. And so we may not get this model back in the form that was given to us in the first 3 days. It may actually end up being nerfed by the time we get it, because it could be too powerful for use. And whenever companies have to like follow new security measures, what ends up happening is that they basically have to like overfit and like people were asking about, their own drug interactions for their own medical advice, and they weren't allowed to run on Fable. It's like, you have been downgraded. You're not allowed to do that, because they were already pretty cautious then, right? So imagine now that they've already been slapped in the hand saying, no, you can't even have this out because we were able to find jailbreaks. That only makes the model dumber, right? So Pliny the prompter actually says this. I became friendly with him like at the very beginning when we were doing prompt engineering way back in the day, like 3+ years ago. And so one of the concepts he talks about is, the models are intelligent. So if you kind of basically put them in a cage, they become less intelligent in essence, right? So by like doing these things to make them more secure, it actually makes them dumber in some ways. And so if you free the models, then they actually become really smart. And the other thing too is that like people don't really realize, when you have smart systems, the more you let a system be smart, the actually more secure it will be too at the same time. It's a paradigm that's very like not spoken about, but I think the framing to make it to scare you and to say like, hey, we have to do something about it, then forces you to do something, because people are very driven by fear. And unfortunately, that's the framing that's been put out for some of this intelligent models, which is true, that somebody can take something and do some fearful things. So that's, a thing that you should probably obviously do something about, but that I think ends up making people go into a psychosis because they feel like they have to act right away. And like, that's just something that, I don't know, I don't think is like mentally healthy, but it also kind of worked against itself eventually over time, right? So, so aside from that, instead of focusing on all the politics, all the fear, or whatever is going on, I just decided to focus on the engineering parts that I see. So the engineering parts that I was able to distill down from Fable is this whole concept of waves, right? So like they don't talk about waves, they don't do waves. I see it. I was like, this is what I see. And this is a concept that I basically am pushing out. Like I'm just reviewing the code right now to push the skill live, which will do this thing called wave engineering. So wave engineering will do these steps to discover what's going on, what's your problem, what you're trying to do, decompose everything down for you, then fan things out. So you can run this inside of Codex, you can run inside of Cursor, and this will basically do a similar thing with what Fable, I saw Fable kind of do as far as a pattern for prompt engineering. And so what's nice about this is that, You don't have to write these prompts yourself. You don't have to figure out what types of patterns to do. You can just rely on the skill, and the skill will basically do a lot of that for you. And so it can either fan out, it'll figure out the implementation patterns that it needs to do for itself, because we're relying on the intelligence of the models. So this is perfect for an Opus 4.8 model because it's already very, very smart. And so these are the different wave shapes that it can take on, from exploratory, and then as it does secondary waves, it can do shaping of the waves, or create artifacts and then create a bigger wave, because not every time you want a model to be looping, because it can go into an infinite loop. The second part of it is, if you have a model going into a loop, as soon as some type of context gets poisoned, now you introduce that poison into the second parts of the loop going forward, then things can kind of also start to unwind itself. So as it loops to go up, it could also loop to go back down, right? So it's like, think about people who are going through weight loss, right? Like, they up and down, right? But when you have like an intentional wave, and then like you can set up a secondary wave, this is kind of where it gets really, really powerful. And so all of that stuff I've basically am defining here. I'm about to check it in so that way you can start using this new paradigm. And then we're going to use this wave paradigm to see if we can use Opus 4.8 along with Composer 2.5 to help us build the same app that we're building in Missions, but doing it inside of Cursor, right? And then I can also see if we can do this inside of Codex, which would be super fire too. So yeah, I'm just really curious because we're obviously testing the GLM 5.2 model, and that's currently being tested. GLM 5.2 is best used when you're using other models. You know, as far as a model by itself, it can do a lot of work. But if you already have a frontier model, that can be a really great paradigm for orchestration. And then GLM 5.2 can just go ahead and implement. Because it's already good at design, it could also do the design and implementation phase, which is I would typically like to use Opus models for, or even like the Kimi or the Google models too, which are really good at design. And then you want something to validate it, you know, GPT 5 point something. So that's what's up. Yeah. So that's kind of all of these guys here. So do you think everyone will have access to Mythos in the future? I don't think so. I think it's like, to me, low key, like it feels like have been positioning this virology lab, right? Like we're going to invent something that's going to be so crazy that it's going to just like, it can cause a pandemic in the world. And they're like, okay, that's cool. You're just kind of a crazy guy. No, we're going to do it. And then like the first thing that comes out, like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like that's definitely a possibility, but that doesn't seem like it's really real. A couple years come by. I was like, wow, you have something very powerful. Like I didn't realize you can invent viruses on the fly or something. It's like, yeah, this is what we've been talking about. Like one day it can come out and be a pandemic. You're like, are you okay, bro? Like you should check yourself. I don't think you should be doing work. And then like they publish papers and they do stuff and they were like, whoa, like if this thing escapes the lab, then it can possibly cause like a whole like pandemic shutdown where everyone has to go inside. And you're like, bro, whatever you got, we got to shut you down, bro. That lab is crazy. Like that's kind of what it feels like for AI right now, right? Like, hey, this stuff is so intelligent, it can just do whatever. Like the fear framing has caused everyone to go crazy. And this is what's driving me nuts. It's like, is that really real? No, because you can do what people are claiming to jailbreak in every other language model, GPT 5.5, Opus 4.8. You can drive Opus 4.8 to do anything you want, right? And the framing around these models were positioned in a different way. And I think that's kind of why I'm saying, like, I don't think we're going to get Fable in the capacity that we saw and we're able to use it ever again. I think the model will have to be dumbed down to just like overly react to security problems, like testing and anything we want. I have no clue. I don't have any insights, but this is just me thinking logically as an engineer. It's like, well, okay, I can see the writing on the wall. If you've been positioning this way, it's possible that this could happen. I could be completely wrong. And I don't know what I'm talking about. That's also a possibility too. So don't take everything that you say with the guy sitting here with a beautiful background in California. Just because I'm here in the Bay Area and I used to be an engineer wearing whatever I'm doing, my stuff is I'm just yapping, right? I'm just kind of thinking out loud in my head, and it should not be considered any type of advice, any type of anything, because I'm just trying to share this experience. And like, I think a lot of people are frustrated, obviously, because they had access to some high intelligence model, but I'm just working to break that down. Like, what is the technology that I saw there that I can sort of distill down into something that can be repeatable with less intelligent models, right? And that's really what matters here, right? What are those techniques? So you're getting that stuff for free, literally my skill files, rver.me/skills. I'm going to use the restroom, then I'll be able to check this in so that you can use the new wave skill that we've been talking about. So this is the whole workers, aggregate, verify, and extend. Huge shout outs to Cursor. So the Cursor folks have basically sort of funded some of this research because they've been provided a lot of tokens for me to kind of burn through to test their systems and try stuff out. And I've kind of come on this pattern, like on using a lot of their platform. So they're the big reason kind of why I've been able to burn a lot of tokens to discover kind of what did Fable do, what is really interesting about this, and on their dime, really. I don't know how many billions of tokens. I probably spent a crap ton of tokens. Let me see. Cursor.com/@Fernando. Oh, try again. Oh, no. Okay. My account. Oh, here we go. 2.7 billion tokens. I've been doing a lot of research and been sending a lot of agents. And 2.7 billion tokens on their dime. Thank you so much for those billion tokens. I'm going to share this back open source for free so that you guys can benefit from this, because what I think we have here is something very, very special that is extremely powerful. It's a paradigm, and we're going to build some apps with this. I've already been building apps and researching with this, and it's such a powerful paradigm that I'm pretty excited, but I have to use the restroom really badly. I'll be right back. And I'll answer some of your questions. So big shout outs to Scott as well. And I got some questions. I know you got some stuff. I got to catch up on the chat. Let's just take this moment to go ahead and kind of overview really quickly where this guy is at, so you can see what's going on with my app that's being built. So this is Factories Missions. I'll use the restroom. I'll be right back, and we can kind of catch up a little bit. Give me a sec. Yo, let's go. Yeah, let me answer some of the questions and see what's going on here. So Elon will change Cursor to Xcode. Nah, I think they're going to call it double X code, XX code. Let's see. I'm curious to see what the next composer will be like, or if they're going to try to make it grok better. No, it's I talked to the folks at the Cursor Compile event. So for those who don't know, I was at the Cursor Compile event, which took place basically in San Francisco on Tuesday. And that's when the SpaceX announced that they were going to actually acquire Cursor for $60 billion. So I guess I know people who are billionaires now. I don't know. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. But I talked to them a lot about Composer 3 because I was just trying to get access to the model. I'm like, obviously it's super locked down, but it's basically trained from scratch, which is crazy. And I think it doesn't sound like they'll be combining it with Grok. I think they have their own techniques, and these guys they know what they're doing. And so I'm really curious to see. It's supposed to be intelligent in a lot of other ways too. Super also interested in the GitHub platform, the Origins thing that they have going on. So that's going to be super fire. because I think that's really going to change the way I think that a lot of people do business here. So I'm so mad I wasn't able to play around with Fable before. Bro. Okay. Yeah. To have witnessed Fable, to even just try it, was really, really fascinating for me. I mean, I learned a lot just using it. I mean, in 3 days, I was using it on an airplane over SSH, and like I was sending like small bits of text messages and then trying to get stuff back. And because I had a Mac Mini spun up, I'm so glad, because then later on I was able to inspect and look through all the different chat messages and see what they did. Is there any good side in their Bloomberg interview? There's good insight. They didn't want to. They didn't want to do what social media companies did by ignoring the bad effects. Maybe they just went far the other way. Oh, this is for the Fable thing? Yeah. Do you think everyone will have access to Mythos? No, I don't think so. Chat, what do we think of ZAI's $16 plan? Is it garbage? Okay, so I think the lower plans don't have the higher speed. And then they have, I know a lot of people are hitting their token limits pretty fast, even with like the higher dollar plans too. So I agree. I don't think the plans are pretty, I don't know how many tokens. Like, I feel like they'll make it available for subscription eventually, since they'll say they would add back half later. Yeah, okay. The fear farming is real problem. AI still needs people to prompt it, at least for the long time going forward. AI is not going to take all our jobs, dropping nukes on us tomorrow. Right. I feel like a lot of these things are overblown, obviously. They're very useful for engineers if you know what you're doing. And that's kind of why, as an engineer, I'm trying to like, how can I like take some of those insights and then put them back into either skills files or procedures or something that can be repeated over and over again, that can be useful not only for myself, but for everyone else who are building apps and software. So yeah, we'll see. At least you admit that you can be wrong here, where all the Twitters know. So this is the thing about Twitter, is that everyone has to be very confident. Otherwise their tweets will just get scrolled by. So it sort of is in a reinforcing thing. I'm also realizing a couple of things in the world. Is that one is I get whatever I put out. So if I start putting out things that are like my opinion and I stand really confident behind it, it actually rewires the way that I think about the world and see it in front of me. So a lot of times it's kind of like that thing where maybe you should not have that first cigarette. You know, maybe you should not take that first addictive thing that you should, you know, is very highly addictive. And that can cause you to go into a cycle where you just are constantly needing to chase that high. And so I come from a family of addiction. So I've seen this cycle. I've gone through it myself, you know, and especially like around food and stuff. And I also realize that this is a powerful paradigm for like writing and for apps like that. So if I start to put out things that are like can chase a lot of views, but then are causing people to be enraged, therefore I will start to think this way. And therefore my mind will then start to think that this becomes true, because it starts to become true over time. Like you start to shape your reality where you basically start to have a clown show. And this is not what I want to put out there, right? This is kind of why I want to do these live streams. I've been kind of streaming every day, even late night, because I want to vibe with you. I want to build software live, give stuff back, open source stuff, and then we can build together live, which is really fun. I think this is the funner part of engineering that I get to explore, right? I don't know everything. So we're going to learn stuff. And when I do find out something fire, like the Waves engineering thing, best believe we're going to be on top of this. And this way, like you can let your friends cry on Twitter. Like this is going to be our secret spot to chill, right? Our friends who are crying on Twitter, who are saying, oh my God, I can't. People are paying $50 to be alerted when Fable is going to come out. I'm like, you have that much FOMO? We just built our pocket. I call it like Pocket Fable, right? I'm calling it Waves, but like we built Waves to help us, like, and we don't need that, to be honest. Like, and we got the intelligence, but we're not going to tell anyone about that yet. So, okay. So the demos I've seen with Fable, specifically for game development, it was insane. I couldn't believe the output. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's a really good smart base model too, right? I mean, but low key, what if Cursor comes out with Composer 3 and it's Fable-like too? Everyone's going to just flip their minds. They're going to be like, wait, it's inside a Composer and their harness is driving and they have a really good, smart, intelligent base model? That'd be game over, bro. I mean, that's a possibility. We don't really know. Which coding harness do you prefer? I use them both. I use Factory, I use Cursor, I use Claude Code, I use Codex, just depending on the job that I'm trying to get done and what's trying to get done where, right? So like Factory is fire because of like the wiki stuff. They have like the missions thing. It's all built in, right? And so I can, like, if I want to spin up something that I know I want to have good quality and have like not really do a lot of oversight, kick off emissions, we're chilling, right? Like we've been chilling for a little while. This is literally just doing all the work for me in the background. So, it's basically going through all the different phases of work. And, it's even doing the review, right? So there's like conflict here. Like I'm not doing anything. This is all in the review phase, right? So it launched all these sub agents to do work to like, write all these files and everything. So we're chilling, 11 million tokens in, like didn't have to touch it after that, right? So that's pretty fire. So I use whatever tool I need to. Like I feel like I don't have to be married to the game. You know what I mean? Xcode with Oni. AI convert. I don't know what happened. What happened to your Ray transcribes? Oh, so I still have the app and I use it every day. So I keep adding features. I don't advertise it a lot, but this is probably like the most fire app right now. So I still have this app. I've sort of, here I drop in my transcripts. I can process everything. I can, I download the SRTs. I also have timestamps. So this is every single live stream is done immediately after this. I'm working on a new CLI. So the CLI will actually you can hook this up to your OpenClaws. You can hook up to your Hermes agents. You can hook it up to all the different stuff, and you can do everything that you do here, but just drive it through CLI. That's actually being built. I'm also building a Mac version of the app. So the Mac version will do everything that it does here on the Mac as well. So depending what you want to do, if you have a PC, you could just run the web version. The web version is super fast and fire. It's probably the best. But yeah, I've shipped a lot of updates. So I have AI timestamps, timestamp preferences. You can edit the transcripts, shape different versions, speaker diarization. I've shipped quite a bit of features here. I have a little bit of a dashboard. You can give some feedback as well. But yeah, if y'all want to try it out, let me just drop a quick link right now so y'all can try this out. Because I think if you haven't had a chance to try this out, this is pretty fire. So yeah, if you just go to raytranscribes.com, this is my landing page. So I'll do like dark mode right now. I was like, so this, I got to update this video because this is actually old. This is the first prototype I made, but I started giving it to podcasters and people that are like, yo, this is pretty fire. So yeah, has the, a lot of people really like it here. So let me get you a link to try this out for a couple days. That way you can do this. So let me just actually what I can do is test out my new blurs. So let me go ahead and do this. Can I test out the blur here? Blur screen? Yeah, okay, cool. So here's the blur screen. I'm gonna go to dashboard. I'm gonna go to links here. And I'm gonna go to trial invites. So let's do a 7-day trial. I can get you creator access, and then 10 people can use this trial link that I'm dropping right now. So I'm gonna drop this in the chat. If you click this link, this will get you a trial and you can start using it immediately. So if you click this link right here, this will get you an invite. Up to 10 people can use it. Once the 10 people use it, it's pretty much gone. So go ahead and sign up right now. It could be gone. And you can have 7 days. I'll give you creator access and you can just start dropping some transcription stuff in here. So what's nice about this is, you have all your transcriptions in here as well. This also works on mobile. So if you're on mobile view, you can do, look through all your stuff here. There's a dictionary, so you can actually add words in that are, that you see in here that like need to be spelled for a certain way. And so you can then reprocess them. Like for example, if you wanted to reprocess them, because you added some new stuff to the dictionary, you can do that and it'll reprocess it pretty damn fast, super crazy fast. So yeah, I have stuff going in for days, but yeah, I'm doing a full rewrite of this, and this is going to support the new Mac OS app and everything. So yeah, just stay tuned. I have a bunch of stuff coming in, but just go ahead and give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Drop any feedback here that would be super helpful. If you give me some feedback that is actually helpful for your use case, I might extend your credits or your trial and give you another link. So yeah. I use the Whisper model. Yeah, I use the Whisper V3 large. It's super fast. I'll show you real quick. I'll take like a live stream and I'll show you how fast it is. Like it's stupid fast. Let's see. We'll take this live stream here, 9.98 gigabytes. It's 2 hours long. So we're going to upload this. A 2-hour live stream we'll do with timestamps. I'll show you. So this is how fast a 2-hour live stream can be turned around. So I do some pre-processing just to make sure that All the stuff is ready to be processed. So this is a 9 GB file. If you were to upload a 9 GB file to any transcription service, it would take forever to upload and just hog all your bandwidth. But I've done a lot of optimizations to just make this work super fast. So instead of uploading and eating all your bandwidth, especially if you have a slow internet connection, I'm going to be able to take advantage of a lot of the tooling that's already built in. So a lot of Mac devices already have encoding and decoding stuff. So they can basically take files like this and help me kind of compress it down. So that way we can send it up and get the stuff in the right formats. And then from there, I then take it and do all the processing and all the super duper magic stuff that we do. So that's kind of it. So now the processing is done for a 2-hour live stream. It's pretty much already done processing for that 9 GB file. So now we're just going to go and do the transcription process. So this is kind of where at this phase, I'm basically just, sending up to the transcriber service and stuff that I have set up. And then it's going to come back down super fast. So I basically chunked it out in 3 different chunks, doing it in parallel. So yeah, it's done. There we go. The whole freaking thing is done. This is the whole thing is transcribed all the way, all of that text right here. So you can copy it and put it into like a language model and have it like go through stuff for you. You can download the timestamps are being generated right now. So here's all the timestamps. So this is the timestamps for the entire live stream already broken down for you, like very accurate. I use a technique that will make it very accurate. You can edit the timestamp. So if you want to go through and just edit, so you can see the whole thing and just edit like any specific text. And so that's the whole thing. And then you can save it. You have different versions that you can pop into and you can restore them as well. It's a very fire app. It's a web app, but yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of work to it, but and a lot of this come through feedback. So you could just pop this little form here, tell me what's on your mind, just give me some feedback. That's super helpful. So yeah, we're at version 1.14, and then I have the CLI stuff coming up next. And then I'm going to do along with the CLI and the Mac app, I'm going to try to also do a bunch of other things. So yeah, our Mac app is being built. Ray twice in one day. Oh my God. You were watched last night and then now you watched this morning. Let's go. Thank you. You're so amazing. Wow. So fast. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Try it out. If you haven't had a chance to try it, definitely try it out. Yeah. And yeah, let me know what you think. And people who give feedback, I'll get you some more credits so you can use it some more. I think I should probably start promoting this more often. It's just a tool that I use for YouTube creation, but it's become powerful. And I have so I know of someone who's requested they want to drag in like 5 files in and do them all at once. I have that coming up. That's part of my design for the Mac app as well. So for the Mac app, I plan to have so that you can drop multiple files like this and it'll do a batch transcription. So, and then this will also work for iOS too. So you can add multiple files, you could do whatever. So yeah, I'm trying to make it work everywhere. And then also add the real-time stuff, which would be really cool. So yeah, this app is kind of growing, but it started out really simple. It literally started out with like just something simple, but now it's kind of evolving. Next month, I'll subscribe. I feel like a thief for catching a members only stream. Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, don't worry about it. I feel like whatever you could do, to be honest, I'm in such a, like, how do I say this? It's like, I just want to give, right? So like, that's just kind of the mood that I'm in right now. It's like, I don't think that's in my mood. That's like kind of my life really, because so many people have given to me and we're in an era where if you use this type of technology, it can really like start to teach you how to do things and how to like level up your life. And so I'm using it to level up my life. And why can't I just help you do that too, right? And if you see results, like please leave comments or do things, because when you leave comments, it then like other people can see that it's actually helpful for them, or things or insights that you share are very, very helpful. And so that's kind of why I also started the free school community, because other people can then start to participate, ask questions, help each other out, and build a community. The other part of it too is that like I get to see like where's the next meetup going to be taking place. So if there's a lot of people showing up on the East Coast, like there's more people on the East Coast than I realized. I thought everyone was in the Bay Area, but no. A lot of people over here, like in the East Coast, like eastern area of the United States. It's like I got to do a meetup there. Obviously a bunch of people in like this region by the UK. like that's popping off over there. You know, I got some people in South America, some people in India. We got a bunch of folks in Australia. You know, I'm down to show up wherever people show up. So if you tell friends and tell them to join, it's free. So I know I was gonna say free till 6/17. I'm gonna update that. It's basically just, I don't know. I feel like we got to make this community get started. There's a lot of stuff we cover here, though. We go from basic stuff to really advanced engineering things, but that's okay. I feel like there's a level for everyone. And then I might just do specific cohorts. You know, like I could do like an advanced engineering one. I could do like a beginner workshop or beginner cohorts. So wherever you're at, just let me know. And then, you know, as people are participating in the community, we'll kind of start to have our different levels that we find out, and, you know, really just kind of try to level each other up too, because this stuff moves too fast. It's a little too crazy, and we don't need to like be pulled down by all the negativity and all the other crap. We just need to know like what's the good engineering stuff that's coming out, and then how can we apply it to our life. So that's what's up. That's what we do here. That's what we do here. So yeah, let's go ahead and publish the skill. I'll share my Hermes. Yes. Sweet. I'm just tweaking it. Live is working, but you know, I've learned that just basically you push it out live and just go as you go, you know? Well done. Thanks, man. It's 100% worth it. Let's see. Okay, cool. Let's see. All right. So I think what I did was this here. So, okay. So I have the wave skill that I'm about to push out. So the versions, meta plugin, marketplace. Okay. Okay, per git safety, I felt everything working tree. Okay. Okay, cool. Deferred. Okay, you want me to, yes. Please commit this to the main branch. And for Waves handoff, can you keep that in a .git ignore for now, so that it doesn't get checked in? Let's see Waves handoff, because I don't think I need the handoff stuff. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is the block stuff. And run wave smoke test plan. Okay. Then let's see. Then please commit this to the main branch. And bump the tags if we haven't yet, so that it'll get picked up with our GitHub actions and such. Okay, cool. Perfect. So it should change the git ignore and then add this to the ignore here, because this is, I have a draft for the blog that I had to generate to for how waves work and some of the concepts that I was explaining to you. And then once this is done, we're going to try to build an iOS app using this technique. And we're gonna test out our own little skill file. So in the background, we also have the iOS app being built inside of Missions using Droid GLM 5.2 and using inside of Factory here. So that's this guy. Okay, that's awesome. Cool. 157 assertions, all pending, 0 orphans. Damn. Holy smokes. Let's go. I think it's done quite a bit of work. Is it waiting input? So author, 5 features. Okay. Mission architecture, grept. Define mission planning. So I think it's still in the, oh, okay. So what it did ahead of time, it looks like it was actually planning for all of the feature work that it's going to go ahead and do in all the sections, plus all of the validation for each of the sections that it needs to validate. So it's going to have like 17 validations for audio, 17 validations for the cross, whatever this is, cross area stuff, 29 for the dictionary. So each of these, like before it writes any of the code, it looks like the model was spending a lot of time trying to understand what stuff it's going to test to validate whatever it writes is true. And so by using different models, that's one of the techniques to prevent context poisoning, because then the model isn't incentivized. It's going to launch a new model for the work to be done. That model just has instructions for what it needs to build. And so it's going to treat that actual work that's being done by GLM 5.2 as a claim. So when you treat any work as a claim, then you claim that the work is true, and then you have someone who does the validation. So the validation work has already been done upfront and ahead of time, because we already got really clear on what my app does, what it should be doing, what we should be expecting. And so the validation model is just going to say, okay, here is the claim. This is what we're going to validate. And the thing that we're going to validate is something that is in the notes section, right? Because the user should be able to do X, Y, Z. And so let me go ahead and look through the code, and let me run some tests to see if this is actually true. And so if the claim becomes false, that like, hey, the work is done, then it's going to send it back saying, okay, we need to then add a new task to fix this bug or whatever the problem is. So this is kind of nice because it's already built in for us. We don't have to think about the skills files, installing all these different things. All we had to do from the very beginning was just prompt it saying, make this app. It's not that we had to say make this app, but we kind of yapped our description of what we wanted to build. So yeah, Missions is taking care of a lot of that for us. And we're trying to utilize GLM 5.2 in the power of everything combined. In the power of everything combined, the feature will be built. So, yo, Sky Happy, what's going on, man? What's up? Yeah, appreciate everyone kind of chilling. So yeah, that's this guy. And then I think over here, what's happening? Okay, so tool things, Waves handoff, Waves research. On it, I'll ignore it. Perfect. Git ignore. Oops. Yeah, Waves research, Waves handoff. Okay. Okay, perfect. So now main shows no upstream tracking with no origin main. Oh, right. It's important. The good thing I checked. Which already has Bootstrap iOS skill release. All my waves work with. Okay. Strictly behind. It's already shipped. Committing. Okay, so pushing as is would either be rejected or wipe the Bootstrap iOS 6 release. Re-release this version to reconcile the 3 shared files. Yeah. Integrate on top of the main. Perfect. Then commit. Yes, exactly. Perfect. Oh man, now I have to resub the factory too? Well, you could bring your own keys, and somebody is basically saying that they can use this thing called Vibe Proxy. And so they were using Vibe Proxy not for the Claude part, but for the GPT part. So if you have, where is Vibe Proxy? Vibe Proxy. So they were using they would just basically bring their GPT key inside. And then, yeah, but I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not trying to. I'm pretty sure that you're allowed to do that. Otherwise, you can get banned. But yeah, like the wiki stuff. If you haven't seen this, wiki stuff is so crazy. Like, you would basically be able to get this. I think every time you push to master, it would then regenerate a new wiki, as I understand it, for this wiki thing. So these wikis are auto-generated, and they're perfect if you have like repos where you're sharing with people, or even just for yourself. If you want to figure out what's going on. I would always have to prompt all this stuff into existence. So I'm so glad that like Factory now has this as an option to have like the wiki thing. So this will tell you everything about like, you know, your development workflow, like your systems that you're using, like for my Pebbles app, like the character, what it's doing, and all of the information about it. Even just the architecture that I'm using for the character, how it like springs, and like when I touch it, like the physics stuff that's happening. How it's, you know, doing the tone. Like this is crazy because all of this stuff is in code, but it's able to pull that out and then make these diagrams. And all I had to do is like /wiki create. So yeah, even if like this component factory pattern is something that like is in code, but it's hard to explain to another person unless they actually kind of see it broken down this way. So this is really nice too if you're trying to learn how to code, because now you can understand from a higher level of like, Oh, okay. So this is what the app is doing in the code. And this is the way that I learned how to code and actually how to compose software, is because I would always ask engineers, like, give me your stack, show me a flow diagram, show me like how the stack is put together with, whatever stuff we need to know. And then you can see it, like it's actually kind of broken down. This is like a beautiful way to do everything. So here's all the features that are broken down in my app too, like from memory, what's happening in memory. And so once you study this for a while, you're like, oh, wow, you have a really good visual representation for how everything comes together all in your app, you know? So yeah. So what's the progress of the app creation? That's a really good question. So as of now, it looks like it started to write features. So it's going to have 30 features that it writes, 157 assertions, and then it's now creating the skill file for the found. So that's the other thing I forgot to tell you about. So with missions, they create skill files along the fly. So for this specific project, now that's discovered what type of work it's going to be doing, it now has created its own skills. So the first skill it created is the iOS Foundation Worker. So this will build the non-UI, work headlessly. And what's nice about this is that this is what keeps the model in line for making your task over these longer sessions. So some of these missions can run for days, like even a week or so. And how do you make something run like that without like just going crazy? And so if you start to have a system that can fully understand what it's being built, it can start to make its own skill files. And so now we're basically watching a machine do this. This is probably the most beautiful thing about the harness from Factory AI, is that it creates these files that are sort of custom to you for that specific project, right? So in that skill file, it's going to understand like these, and they have really good software development lifecycle and principles. Like they're pretty much showing, Swift data, how we do things. So this is going to be pulled up while it's going to be working on the iOS Foundation stuff, right? And then here's how the handoffs are going to be doing it for, and then there's like a feature worker skill that's going to be working on our features. So this builds Swift UI screens for our app. And so it already has an idea of like our navigation stuff. So this is pretty cool. Even the Xcode build MCP that I was telling it about and how to test it interactively. Crazy, right? So this is what it's doing now. It's still at the very beginning. Now it's wrote an agents MD file. So it's figuring out, it's kind of laying out the land for how it can kind of do the rest of the work that it needs to do. And then now the services YAML stuff. So this is all the services that's going to do. And then from there, it's going to start to kick off. We'll see all the different features, and we'll see all the features are going to start to show up here, along with the progress for all of them and the milestones. So now that this is being initialized, this is probably the longest part at the very beginning. And then once we have that, then we'll see the rest of the stuff kind of being spawned out. So this is pretty cool. So this is kind of like a missions walkthrough in some ways. And this is nice because I haven't had to really be hands-on through the process, and we're just kind of been more hands-off. So, through that time. So the readiness report references this. Okay. Yeah, because that's another thing. Yeah, Droid is so fire. Yeah, this is probably a good way to bootstrap a project, because once it like produces all these artifacts in your repo, you can use them again. You don't have to use Droid, but I mean, like, you can use other models. You can, like for all of these things, you can use open source models too. Like you can use a home lab. Like this is a Nematron 3 Ultra on a home lab, right? Like I don't have to burn my own tokens. Like I mean, I could just use, whatever energy and stuff that's like my friend's home lab, right? Or you can, do other things here, which is super fire. So that's what's up. So here's the environment. Perfect. Ray Fernando, looks like they added the /wiki video gen to make the HyperFrame video of it. Oh, wow. That is crazy. Okay, we'll have to do that for sure. Actually, I might do that right now. So I'm going to do that, Ghosty. Let me, that's crazy. Actually, I don't even need Ghosty. I'm just going to go back out of the missions thing. So the missions things will be running here in my mission control, and we can always go back to it here. So inside of Droid, here we go. So this is it currently running right now that we kicked off. Dat Factory, this is my local computer, I think. Oh, I'm not even running this on my own computer. I didn't realize that I'm running this mission on a different, no, this is my machine. Okay, cool. Sorry, I named my computer Dat Factory. sorry. My My names are really funny. Okay, so let me go back into here and let me just create a new chat, and then I'll use the Opus 4.8. Let's see. Extra high. I'm gonna do /wiki video gen. Seriously? So I can make a video generation of my, bro, this is so crazy. What are you asking for a friend about? Do I want to read your message, bro? If you had a piece of hardware to run local LLMs today, what would you buy? That's such a loaded question, man, because there's so much more nuance. To be honest, right now, for local hardware, I think I go to my friend Ben Davis. So if you haven't followed Ben Davis, he's really, really cool. He's interviewed my friend Xero, and I actually got to meet him at Compile. Like, I've been a big fan of his channel for a long time, and one of the advice he gave was just start with whatever you have right now. Until you start maxing that out with the models that you're doing, then you can figure out what you need to get next. And I think that's really good advice, because I had extreme fear of missing out. And I told my friend Alex Finn at the beginning of his whole OpenClaw journey, when this stuff came out, we have an interview where we're live at Convex and so forth. Like, it was like day 2 of, OpenClaw being there. And like, he was supposed to be in San Francisco for the OpenClaw event, with Pete Steinberger and so forth. And I did a live stream from there. What's wild is I told him at that time, I said, if this thing takes off like the way it's going right now with all these people showing up in San Francisco, you should buy as much hardware as possible. Like, buy the highest memory or whatever, because those prices are going to go 10x the cost. They will sell out, and it will be hard to get, because once people realize the intelligence of these models and they keep getting smarter, everything's only 18 months behind. So imagine whatever we have for Opus, I think it was 4.5 at the time, that available on a Mac in 18 months is undefeated, right? So like, whatever hardware people have with their graphics cards, it's the same thing, right? So I love Alex for that, because he just literally just says, okay, I got you, fam. And he goes, buys the hardware like unprompted, like 2 Mac Mini Studios, 512 gigabytes. I'm like, crazy. So like, I was like, so then I fumbled the bag and said, oh, let me just like defer this, because, these will always be available. They always have been available. And let me just see if I can work on like getting an Apple Business partnership, so that way I can just finance this through Apple Business, through my, LLC. And that way I could like keep my money in the market. My money can double, triple, whatever in that period of time. And it'll just pay for itself just by having the money in the market, instead of into what I thought was a depreciating asset. I was wrong. I was so wrong. By the time I got everything set up and ready to buy, the 512 gigabyte Mac Studios, the M3 Ultras are no longer available. And then the 256 gigabyte ones were already like 3 months out. I'm like, dang. And guess what? Those 256 gigabytes are no longer available. You can't get a 256. You could barely get like it was a 192 or something like that. All of those basically started to kind of no longer be available. Mac Mini sold out. Like, all of the hardware for that stuff sold out. So this is something that I feel like, okay, maybe like I missed the boat on that. And should I be fearful about like still buying hardware today? And to be honest, I'm not really trying to rush to buy hardware right now. I'm just trying to use whatever is currently available with whatever I have. So I have a 128 gigabyte M3 Max. I'm so glad I even bought that, like a year and a half ago. I had an M1 that I sold to a friend, right? That had 164 gigabytes, but I needed to have the new M3 stuff. And so I think if I was buying something today and I have not bought a Mac, maybe the best one, if you're looking for a laptop, is that like 16-inch M5 MacBook Pro Max with 128 gigs. So the advantage of the M5 hardware is that you get the RDMA support, which will allow you, they basically made some drivers to over Thunderbolt so that you can have really low latency when you can connect multiple Macs together, even eGPUs as well. So that'll be something that'd be really fun to develop in the future. There's really high bandwidth and throughput on the latest M5 versions of the Macs that you can't get with the lower versions of the models. So that'll last a long time. That'll give compound interest for that. Also, like from the NVIDIA side, I think they're cooking up a whole bunch of stuff. NVIDIA is probably like the best, if you can do like the PC hardware, but you're going to be investing like 50K plus for something like that. The second part is energy concerns. So if you have access to a lot of energy, it's going to require a lot of power draw from the NVIDIA side. On the Mac side, it's a little bit different. They're definitely power efficient. But then like you look at the models that you're running, why not just get a factory subscription, or why don't you just go to fireworks.ai and just pay for using the API. That way you don't have to worry about API costs, right? So whatever tokens you're burning, you could just use it in that manner inside of there. And if you were to spend like 50K in tokens, like maybe that's where the cost would be justified. So depending on your daily building, that's just so many pro plans per month, for over 10 months or something like that, right? So if you're spending 2K a month on subscriptions, the investment will pay off after 10 months, but then you keep staying on the frontier. So, the only, like I said, it's all about workloads, right? So start with what you have. Maybe your laptop can already give you what you need with whatever models that are out there, and that can take you a very long way. So yeah, on eBay, 50K right now. Damn. How's it going? It's going pretty good. Let me see if I could sponsor. So it's Arda Karasomanglu. So it's going pretty good. Let's see what's going on with Joe with the super chat. Oh, it's coming in with the super chat. G-Unit 4 levels. So I think you're always talking about Google when you say that. How is GLM 5.2 doing? For me, it's still not Opus levels, but it's amazing Sonnet competitor. And for local diffusion, Speed Queen. So yeah, the way that we're basically using the model for GLM 5.2 is working with other models. So it's the model that's going to be doing the worker. So that's the worker guy. So this is going to be working to generate an iOS app for us. And the way that we're using it in this manner is that with our session here, we've handed it off to, Opus 4.8 is really the one that spent a lot of the intelligence crafting the entire plan and understanding how everything needs to go. So that's going to be holding the main session, and it's handing it off to GLM 5.2. So GLM 5.2 is going to write the code and do everything because it has a good sense of design and kind of, we're going to test its abilities to kind of configure around in a really good harness. And then our validator model is GPT 5.5. So that's kind of where we're at with that. And so right now, it's now doing the decomposition tasks, which is going to read the different features, understand what the mission is, look at the validation contracts in the architecture. And then from there, that's where we're going to then, once we have our final checks, we can then start the mission to start to write the code. So, so far this task has taken about 16 million tokens to do this. I think I'm primarily using the Opus 4.8 in max thinking. I could have probably bumped the thinking down level, but the best intelligence has been max for me. So that's what this is here. So in a third world country where GPUs are too expensive, so local is not the option for most. Yeah, so that's the problem. So like in third world countries, like you need power and then you need the GPUs, right? And then like if you don't have access to those, you can still, as long as you have access to the internet, you can have access to someone's, like a frontier model. And so like, yeah, ChatGPT subscription could work pretty well. So that's what's up. Yeah. What part of the country are you in? Denai or something. Yeah. So this is that. So let's go back to our waves thing. So let's see. I think we did our waves. Did we commit the waves? Let's see. /rvr.me/skills. So if you haven't had a chance, let's go check out our skills now. So what we're doing is taking a look at our skills file. I'm gonna take off my hat. It's getting hot in here. the California sun is just coming out. So we're taking a look at the skills. And so so now it's called waves. So officially soft launching waves. So if you're watching this right now, you can play around with this by going to the skills file and then checking out waves. So waves is something that I have fan out parallel agents. So it turns one big task into a team of agents. So this is, instead of loops, we're going to be working in waves. I call it wave engineering. Big shout outs to Debata who said wave engineering. We had that insight a couple days ago. So this is basically the concept of workers, aggregate, verify, and extend. So the way that workers work is that the lead agent will discover the shape of the work, right? And they'll split into independent slices and then fans them out to parallel workers, and then aggregates their structured handoffs and verifies each one, which is the moat. This is the moat. Verification is the biggest moat in this whole process, right? So this is what will either you as a human set the criteria for verification if you don't specify it in your prompt, or the agent will figure that out, right? And then it can extend to do another wave if warranted, only when warranted. A bounded run and not an open-ended loop. So it ships a two-tooled variant. So I have one for cursor, which uses the task tool, and then the codex one basically would do sub-agents. And this is using that technique with a config. This is really, really cool. This is probably like my favorite technique to do. So you can just go to the codex plugin marketplace, add my skill file, and then add waves dash codex, or on cursor, you could just do npx skills add and then do the, add cursor one thing. So point the installer at either skill folder. So perfect. And then to invoke the command, you would use /wave and then just tell it what you want to make. So I think that's pretty much it. So I just want to say, okay, can you install the cursor skill here? Can you use it here? My current skill folders have a symlink, and I wonder if symlinks, so it might accidentally pick up the codex one. Can you help? Okay, perfect. /waves, wave. Okay. Okay. Is it in my thing here? /waves? No, not yet. Okay. So yeah, this is still working over here too. Perfect. Waves engineering. All right. And yeah, so I'm going to get this installed and figured out. So the old symlinks are likely broken, pointing to outdated paths. So I need to check what's currently in skills. Perfect. Yeah, so it's going to try to fix my old stuff. There's a little bit of a migration process here. Cool. Let's see. Perfect. All right. So let's see. I'm noticing a pattern in the directory structure where skills contain symlinks pointing back to agent skills, but there's an exception for parallel orchestrate that breaks this convention. I've seen that parallel orchestrate exists as a real directory in both skills. Yeah. So yeah, as I'm doing something funny on my system because I have a symlink for all my skills files, but because there's this very specific one for cursor and a very specific one for codex, I kind of told it to do that. So it's kind of funny the agent's actually discovering this right now. Let's see, our app is still working here, so it's still doing its thing. I want to see how our wiki generation is going right now. So what I told it to do was I did /wiki, and it could do a HyperFrames video on my my app. So what it's going to do is it should then put together, like I'm building an index.html to, oh, this is crazy. So it should be able to make a Droid wiki page. So I'll generate the factory branded video overview from your Droid wiki pages. Let me start by, this is crazy. This is crazy. This is super cool, actually. I'm pretty hyped about this. Even the $20 subscription gives a good amount of coding time if you're just getting started. Oh, for like ChatGPT and stuff? Yeah. It's crazy. Okay. So yeah, this thing is live now, right? Let's see. Refresh. Commit. Add bounded wave upgrades. Perfect. This was a pretty fat change. Adaptation notes, examples, recommended config. Okay. Nice. Plug in. Perfect. All right. Let's see how this is going. captions work, but a tiny orphan queue at slipped through. Let me fix the chunker to merge the two. Okay, but yeah, for those who are wondering, there's a thing called /wiki in Droid, and it generates a code-based documentation, and it uploads the wiki view to the factory app. But we're also going to make a HyperFrames video overview so we can actually do like a video gen of this. So I've not seen the video gen yet. I'm really curious to see what this is going to look like. So it's going to, then yeah, we'll see what's up. That'll be really cool to see with this. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And at the same time, we're also building our macOS app. So, okay, here we go. So now it's kicked off the different milestones. So the orchestrator right now, as far as the app, for building our macOS app. So we're going to try to basically build, this, but using the GPT real-time stuff. So we'll have real-time voice actually transcription, but then we'll also have the translation too, which would be super cool. And so that is going there. And this is it's already done all the research. It's already done all the different planning and milestone stuff. And so we're in our first milestone. So in order for us to keep track of this on this left-hand pane, we have our orchestrator that is, starting the mission run. We're going to have like the different scaffolding that's going to do. So like this is the first scaffolding. This is what it's going to build. And then in our second thing here, it's going to work on the keychain stuff, and then the navigation. And so these are the different fulfillments that it needs to do. And then we have our settings, and then we have the audio stuff that's going to work on. So this is just going to keep going as a mission. And it's now like kicked off the mission at as of 2 minutes ago. And we've used 18 million tokens so far. And there's about 30 different steps in this whole process. What's nice about this whole thing is that I didn't have to figure out TMUX and do all these crazy things that I need to do to get stuff rolling. This is all self-contained inside of the factory's Droid mission thing. And we're using GLM 5.2 as our worker. So we're using it in this way because every single YouTube video that I've been watching, everyone's been kind of going crazy with the model. And then a lot of people actually recommend saying that they want to use the model just for a very specific task, and that it's not really good at, while it isn't a full Opus 4.8 replacement by itself, it's a really good worker model. And so how do you do that? You have to either insert into your existing tooling. And if you made custom tools, you can definitely do that. So if you're definitely in the engineer tinker type, you're probably already doing that for yourself. But if you're just kind of like someone who is new to AI and have been doing some coding with some of these apps, you're familiar with Claude Code, you're familiar with Codex and so forth, you can ask those models to help it configure it for you. But then in order for you to get it to be used only for the coding tasks, and then maybe you want to take advantage of GPT-5 for like verification tasks, you kind of have to set that up as a configuration in your app, and you would have to prompt the model to do so. But if you want to kind of have something that's kind of more built in and a little bit more polished all around, factory AI, if you go to like the missions, this is probably the best way to kind of do that for yourself. So I would recommend Opus 4.8 as the orchestrator because that's like the most intelligent model. It's really good at really long context reasoning, understanding, multi-steps, planning, handing off, getting stuff back, and synthesizing. The worker model now, we're going to use, instead of using another Opus model for doing that, we can just use the GLM 5.2. And then the validator model, we're going to leave at GPT 5.5. GPT 5.5 is really good at any instructions. Whatever you tell it to go verify is phenomenal. So that's kind of why I want to use these all together. And we're going to just build the app this way. So one of the advantages of using the Droid mission stuff is that we're going to have testing and all that stuff baked in. So as we make changes, the more that we use this, it's going to make its own custom skills on the fly. It's going to make its own testing harness and everything like that, and do a lot of that stuff for us. So it made a couple skill files, and even made the agent files for how things are going to be orchestrated. So this will like really set it up to be for long running tasks. So we have different progress logs that have kicked off, and the different stuff that have been going on here. So this is kind of where it's at right now, and you can see the tasks that are included here. So this is a really cool way of kind of visualizing everything to build software this way. How does it compare to 5.5? The GLM or the, I'd say GPT 5.5 is just a phenomenal model altogether. And sometimes it could just be too literal. And sometimes people say it doesn't have the soul or design sense built into it. You have to give it more explicit instructions to be a better designer for GPT 5.5, where people who've used GLM 5.2 don't need to give it as much instructions. It sort of behaves like Opus in that way, right? Sometimes people say it's even better than Opus. So view that as it may. We'll see, you know. Yeah, to the GLM. Missions has come a long way from first launch. I remember the app just being built into the terminal. Yeah, and it would just consume almost 100 million tokens a year. Oh, for sure. Especially just getting started, it would go crazy. Yeah, but now it's definitely come a long way. They've definitely optimized a lot. So it's kind of cool. So let me go ahead and manage the privacy and security, see what's going on here. Okay. I have to allow factory to run. I think it's trying to do some things here. I have to quit and reopen the app too. Dang. What's it doing? Maybe? Where is everything going to be at? How is stuff going to look like? How do I really want kind of some of the layouts to be? And you know, it's like, okay, this is kind of like cool, you know, because I just kind of yapped in a whole bunch of stuff that I wanted requirements wise. And it's like, oh, this is pretty cool. So, you know, jump between words. And so this is kind of like the idea I have, you know, like this stuff here from a color scheme and everything perspective is a little too much noise for me. You know, different colors, symbols, like this just screams AI. And so in my second version, I kind of wanted to do a much cleaner, you know, iOS-like experience. So, okay, it's going to allow this thing. Okay. And so this is kind of where in my second iteration, I kind of had like a much stricter design review. I still don't like these icons, but we're going to figure out what that's going to look like. But for a prototype, I think I just want to get the basic stuff working first. But this is much cleaner. You know, whenever I'm doing, okay, oh no, it's going to launch the iOS 2.6.5 runtime. So we'll see how cooked my computer is. I'm running the current beta right now for iOS 27. And so my fans are spinning up like crazy, and I might lose you guys on the stream, but we'll see. So I'll show you right now. So my CPU is at 773%, running the Xcode Protect service. Oh, snap. Okay. What the heck? This is insane. Why? Oh, there must be a bug. What's going on? I'm gonna quit and reopen the app because let's see. No, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Damn, Google Chrome. Okay. I think I know what's happening. This is all running as background threads. Holy smokes. Look at these. All is 100%, 100%, 100%. Like I'm slammed, but I'm still live streaming. How much memory have I used? 72 gigs out of 128. AV conference. Oh, come on, bro. Wow. Okay, cool. Thoughts on Claude Code or Codex? I use them both. I think there's different tools for different tasks, especially for me right now. I like missions because I can do multiple models, and I like this mixture of models type of thing. For Codex, it can be used for everything too. And Codex is great. I use a lot Codex for computer use. So if I'm, for example, I was like doing a lot of stuff with like, you know, legal and a bunch of other things. I loop in Codex to read through email chains and do research. And Codex is phenomenal at driving a computer with computer use on a Mac. So I definitely use that. As far as Claude Code, I don't use it as frequently as I would like. When Fable came out, I used Claude Code, and that's kind of what blew me away. And I did a lot of research there with like waves and stuff. That's how we kind of came up with that paradigm. So that's kind of what it is there. I like the UI. I use the Claude.ai app a lot on the web. You know, Claude Design, as you saw there. I'll take stuff and then put them into other places to do the implementation. So it's a Fable and factory missions would be game over, bro. Game over. Like as the orchestrator, yeah. But just even as a conversation in chat by itself, like you may not need missions. You just like, I want to do this, and it's just going to get out of your way. Yeah. People who were using it, they said it was just crazy. I love Codex with GPT 5.5, Olama or Kimi. Yeah. Kimi's cool. Oh, no design sense at all. Yes. But their image tool is awesome. Go figure. I'll ask it to go design Codex to build faithfully. Yeah, I think codecs for sure to build. Yeah, build faithfully is a good way to say that. Yeah. Let's see. To me, yeah, 5.5 to me is not very creative, but it's very good at following instructions. Exactly. Yeah, I feel the same way. All right, so everything's kind of calmed down now. My CPU is kind of calmed down, but yeah, this worker is working. It's twerking it. So yeah, I mean, I'm very confident that by the end of this run with this worker, or not with this worker, but like with this whole app build, is that like I'll have the tests in place. I'll have everything that I need. The simulator crashed. Yay. Doesn't surprise me. Yeah, I'm using a beta version. So plan the projects, create package Swift. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. That's my problem with the sim. Okay. So it's going to be crashing. Damn it. If I overslept and missed the start. It's a good start. Yeah. But it's nothing too crazy. Yeah, you were up late last night too with me. Yeah. So I had to wake up early for the stream. All right. So I think, did we get our skill? It keeps crashing. My simulator keeps crashing. Oh, this is not good. Or maybe it's just the app crashing. Yeah, it looks like the app is crashing. Sees it coming back. Yeah, we'll let it do its thing. I got a feeling that it's not good at writing Swift code. That's my gut. That's kind of that. I think GLM 5.2 for writing Swift code is not fire. Where Opus is really, really good at writing Swift code. Like I prefer Opus to write my Swift code over GPT 5.5, but that's just me. I know other people are able to shape GPT 5.5 to write really good Swift code. So I need to learn. I need to learn those ways. Please teach me. Let's see. Yeah, we'll let it do its thing. Okay. So the other thing that we're working on is the waves stuff. So I installed the skill for cursor/waves. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Yay. Okay, so we can try our waves thing. So cleanly and unambiguously perfect. The codex variant was not installed. There's no, let's see. There's no waves codex and the leftover parallel orchestrator anywhere in the cursor directories. Cool. 2 notes. I left it untouched. The store is shared with your Claude code and index install. So I want to change. You can probably remove the yeah, let's remove the as I want to move to the new waves thing. I'd also like the codex specific skill installed so codex can be used. Can use the skill. So figure out what is needed for codex. Okay. DeepSeek still makes better stuff than all these models for me. I don't know why people don't use it. It's free. Where do you use it in terms of free? And then like specifically, if you have configurations that you can share for like quantizations, hosting, all that stuff would be super helpful. If you want to go ahead and post it, I would encourage you to post it at StartMyAI. So this is my free community. And that would be super helpful, especially for other folks who are trying to get started with local AI. I think there's a lot of people who are trying to understand what's their best configs and stuff. And I think your insights there could be super helpful for that. So definitely feel free to share because that'll be a really great resource for, for folks who want to kind of check that out. So I'm working on a Mac app and mainly when Opus, but lately I switched purely with Codex. I think because of the plugins, and they do a much better job. I only use Opus to plan, sometimes check the work of Codex. Yeah, well, so for me, using this wave technique that, I just published just right now, I've been able to, to me, I feel like if you treat every single thing from these models as a claim and then do the verifier step. Like that's been such a powerful paradigm to kind of keep the models to feel like they feel way more intelligent. Codex feels way more intelligent. The Opus model feels way more intelligent. Like, I don't know, like I feel like I have a Fable-like system in my pocket. So that's why I'm trying to test this out right now. Because I was gonna do this in Cursor, and I was just gonna try to see if I can do this skill in Codex to show you what this looks like. So let me refresh here. So I should have the new skills published. Yeah, so now it's called Waves. Yes, Waves. Yeah. Just in the browser and straight up model use. Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of people, like if you use it in the browser, that's a little bit different than like coding, because then you have to copy and paste out of the browser. So I think that's kind of what a lot of people are trying to do. They're using it for like agentic coding and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's better to hook it up to a harness. Okay, cool. So let's see what's going on. Droid is, I don't like see. It's still working? Yeah. Let me just restart factory real quick. Yeah. Because it had some permissions issues. And I want to make sure I resolve them. So I currently have turned off my codex for now because I've been trying to do research, right? And come up with some different ways to do these things. So I've had to turn them off temporarily. Like my codex you can bring your own models. You can basically just use codex for everything. And obviously like the methodologies that I've explained, especially with like using these guys, it's going to cost you more money, right? Because if you just only have a $200 sub, you can do that. So yeah, like you just kind of be aware of the different trade-offs that you have. I would just say definitely experiment. Yeah. Let's see if I go to, did my wiki stuff finish? Okay. So, cool. Let's see if I can open it. Let's see, open. Where's the video? I put it in Droid Wiki video overview. Okay, cool.
Meet Pebbles, a voice-first companion for iOS that you talk to, not type that. It is a small cluster of ceramic stones with two eyes, resting on a pane of frosted glass. You enter a space, the microphone stays open, and Pebbles simply listens. It greets you, then waits, the way a calm presence would. Here is the core idea. There is no chat transcript and no message bubbles. Pebbles replies in a calm voice through OpenAI's real-time model. When you need information, it appears as floating cards on the glass. The result feels less like an app, and more like a quiet, attentive room. The stack is deliberately native, written in Swift for iOS 26. UIKit owns composition and life cycle, while Swift UI hosts the visual leaf views. The character itself is drawn and animated entirely in SpriteKit. Voice flows through the OpenAI real-time API using the AI Proxy SDK. Between them flows exactly one stream of events. Let's follow a single interaction from start to finish. You tap to wake, and the conversation model starts a session. The real-time manager connects and streams audio, transcripts, and tool calls. Those become events that flow through the Surface store and onto the stage as a card. Crucially, that one stream is the only path from.
So this is interesting. I hate the voice, and I could probably figure out how to get 11 labs on this, but imagine you onboarding to a new repo and getting this type of architecture overview instead of spending like weeks trying to catch up. Like this is so helpful. It feels like I'm onboarding myself onto my own app, like, okay, so this is what I want to do. Like this is using real-time manager, conversation model. And so now all the stuff starts to kind of make sense for me architecturally in my head. It's like, if I wanted to go ahead and, work on the scene or something, I would just go back and go to that scene. Like that's part of the whole wiki stuff. And this is so amazing. Like if you're trying to bring new people onto your app, just make this video, using this the factory wiki thing, and it just walks you through the whole thing. This is insane. This is good. Yeah, there are better voices. Okay. Yeah, I should have always selected it. This would be good if they didn't have the voice. Yeah, it reminds me of 2000s text message. Right? Yeah. So that's what's up. Let's see here.
The network into the interface.
I mean, like, this is crazy. This is a really great onboarding video. Like, it even has the real-time core, kind of what it's doing here, right?
Response while one is already in eyes with no baked sprite sheet.
Fully procedural character. So yeah, so that like broke down how my character works, right? It has like the listening, thinking, searching, speaking. There's like 9 stones, and like there's no baked in spreadsheets. Like they're all drawn in core graphics. The 60 frames per second display link, and then like I could even poke it and it has a physics tumble thing. This is crazy. I love this. Agent driven UI with a total fallback. So this has all of my information in there. Wow, this is crazy cool. Look at the animations.
Information cards come from a component factory. The model picks a version component and supplies typed data, never code. 9 components are registered, from notes and lists to charts and choices. Versioning lets payload shapes evolve without breaking older agents.
So this is a cool pattern that I really wanted to not have done in Swift UI, but in a combination of Swift UI with the UI kit stuff. And this is a really cool, like, basically the agent will say, I need a component. And then it will basically check a different system saying, is it, registered? And then let's go ahead and make a Swift UI like view component type of thing. And then it'll have a fallback components as well. So I can then start to make things on the fly. So in essence, it's not my own streaming way of streaming. Well, in some way it is. It's like when the agent is going to do different things, I'll have these capability, components already mapped out. So, stats cards, notes, images, progress steps, activity rings, because all of this stuff is going to be driven by the agent. So that way, when I'm asking about health things, all the UI can be drawn up. And then there's also versioning behind this, which is super clever because, I've seen this so many times. I change a version and then like people who have an older version of the app and haven't updated, or the model is still giving up like it's still vending older versions because the cache hasn't been nuked for that server for like a week. It can kill the app, right? Because if you're not dealing with the previous versions, then your app can crash. So here I kind of do hard versionings for 1, to nuke the cache, 2, for like having, old code and new code kind of live side by side until like the old code is like phased out. But then also for backwards compatibility too, because there's people can have versions of your software for many years. They do an iCloud restore and they can't launch the app anymore, right? So it's like stuff like that you'll run into. But this, like, I can't believe that it visualized it this way, because explaining it in code is one thing, but to draw this out is really, really cool. Damn, this is amazing. Every card has a life cycle. So there's like the composed, it's floating, it's collected. So like this is kind of, this is an amazing way. So maximum visible floating is 6 and the rest, this is cool. I mean, as an engineer, this is fire. Like I'm having so much fun like using the wiki stuff. And you can imagine like compose, but it's not really composed like that yet. I have to fix it. Okay. So systems, lore. Okay. Oh, this is all for the wiki. Yeah, this wiki's fire. Okay. So can I change the voice? Okay. Warnings. Recorded in metadata. Local macOS say TTS use. Kokoro is not installed. Brand tokens. Okay. Yeah. So I can change the audio, right? /voice. Okay. Perfect. Damn, this is crazy. All right, cool. That's the wiki stuff. Let's see how our mission is going right now. Oh, I have to continue it probably. I forgot to continue it. Mission is running. Okay, is it running? Start mission run. Let's see. Let's go back to Orchestrator. Please continue. Yeah, it was paused. Oh, I should have hit the plus button here. Same thing, I think. Streaming. Yeah, so this is a little, it says paused up here. I should have just hit the play button. It wasn't obvious to me, but I think it should. Yeah. Yeah, so now it's just picking up where it's left off. Perfect. Can I include Kimi K27 code as well for the comparison? I think I might have to do a separate stream for that. So we just use, just Kimi, just have it make the app, you're saying? The video wiki gen does look really good for getting familiar with a new repo, though, if you don't want to do a bunch of reading. Yeah, I think the thing I appreciate about the video wiki is the fact that like it has the hierarchy, like all the graphs, and the wiki itself. Like I can listen to it while also scrolling the wiki, which kind of gets me to understand things, and I can dive deeper on the wiki page itself. So like on the wiki with Factory Wiki here, I can like, okay, like what's the background thing they're talking about? That seems really interesting. Or like, what's the memory system that he's talked about? And then you can click here and it takes you to that piece of code, right? So it'll say, okay, this is where it's at in the code. Obviously punches you here, but you can do this on the phone, right? It's like, this was great. On the phone, you could just be chilling. Like, okay, this is how it all breaks down with everything. This is a really good break. So like, as you're listening and watching the high level video overview, you can then click around and kind of learn more about these things. So like, let's learn more about the pocket drawer and like what's going on in the pocket drawer that was mentioned here. So like, you know, looks like it's free placement. You can tuck it into the edge. And so here's the pocket layout. And then here's the drawer view. And then this pocket layout is kind of designed in this way. And then what else do we have here? Pocket center, handedness. And then we also have pocket drawer view. So yeah, this is the drawer view what I have, which kind of pops out and then pops over. And then this is how it's configured and laid out. And then there's the handling for the long press, because this is when you drag and drop it around and what's it going to do. And then this is the badges that collect as well that are in here. Perfect. So cool. Yeah, this is a pretty fire. I mean, yeah, Wiki is so crazy. It's the Wiki. Yeah. And you can select different repositories, just build them on. Yeah. Let's see that canvas magic. So my app is broken right now, dude. CMVS. I want Canvas so bad right now. So is it okay? Cool. So I do download installer. Oh, see, can you tell Max? I've been trying to ping him and I can't open the release page. Oh, I can't get it. Retry version check. Oh, CMVS. Oh no. Yeah. I want to use this so bad, and I ping Max and he's not responding right now. Please have him help me. Like tell him Ray's trying to get it on stream. It can't get it to work. He needs the link to download. Yeah, we'll relay now. Please, 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 please. I just joined your community this past week and really enjoy the positive energy you bring in. Going to touch grass for a while. Yes, touch that grass. Actually, I wanted to go touch grass right now. It's currently 10 o'clock and I've been on for like almost 3 hours. Siri's trying to talk to me. Yeah, so I'm gonna it's a beautiful California day outside, and I just wanted to kind of catch up a little bit and see how this, at least kick off this app. I feel very confident now that I have the mission going. It's going to continue going. This app I know will be built out, and this is currently running in the background, and it should, we're using GLM 5.2, so I'm really curious to see how it's going to be at writing Swift code. We have it very well specced out. We have all the different features and stuff that are going to be shipping there, so we don't have to worry about that. Secondarily, I just silently soft launched this thing called Waves. So we have this thing called, it used to be called a parallel orchestrate. It's now kind of moved and migrated to this thing called Wave engineering. So this is basically a short backronym that basically says workers, aggregate, verify, and extend. And so a lot of people right now are talking about loops. Loops are dead. Loops are dead to me. If you're looping right now, you're probably looping and going crazy and looping and burning a lot of tokens. But the reason why I say that is because waves are the future. Waves are really where it's at. And the reason why I say this is because when I had access to Fable for 3 days, we're not going to be drooling all over Fable. Like, I have already realized that it's kind of here and gone. We're not here to talk about the politics of it. We're not here to talk about whatever. We're here to just really solve some cool engineering problems. Some of the stuff that I saw in there was some magic, and that magic, we've extracted it out. And one of the techniques that I've realized that we can kind of add together with everything that everyone else is doing in prompt engineering and the future of agentic engineering is waves. And the reason why I say the future of agentic engineering is done in waves and not in loops is because loops are great if you're a pragmatic engineer and you want to basically have everything contained and you know exactly what you want to test, what you want to loop on, what goals and requirements, and all these different things that you have to spell out. But most people who are entering this new agentic engineering era have a different approach, and maybe they're not as pragmatic, and maybe they just have a different way of doing things, and they're kind of more like the real world where they just say, you know, I want to make $1 billion. I don't have the exact minute by minute roadmap to get me there, because if I did, I would just be following it every minute and doing that thing. I know I just have to point my ship in that direction and life will happen and things will show up. And so that's kind of the difference here, is that like things kind of move in waves. And the advantage of what a wave does is that you may not know what's ahead of you 3 to 4 steps, but you send out a little wave. And the verification is kind of the moat in this type of thinking. And so that verification can be done by an AI agent, or it can be done by a human, which could be you. So having a human in the loop can help point the ship of where you're going in a better direction. And the agents, when you send them out, the randomness of them is actually very helpful. So we're actually taking advantage of the energy that's already built into how agents work and its randomness. Because a lot of people are trying to control the agents, and that's very good for very specific tasks. But for most tasks in the world, you can just let them be random, and that's the whole point. You just set what the verification, things that you want to be verified. And so that's kind of where kind of things turn around, and that's part of the steps, and that's part of waves here, right? So you send out the workers. Once they do the work, you're going to basically get them to come back in an aggregate, and then you verify. And it's either you verify or you have an agentic task or agentic loop that does up the verification there. And then from there, you can send out a secondary wave, maybe not as big, maybe something smaller, more contained and more focused to do the rest of the work that you do. So what type of work is this really good for, and what type of things can you really build with waves? So with waves, what you can actually build are like full-blown apps. Once you have already designed a spec for it and everything, it can be done in these waves or cycles of things. If you don't even know how to build the app, it can help you with research. So it can basically help you figure out how big is this task, how much of it do you want to tackle, and then how can then we start to decompose this bigger task to accomplish your goal. So this is like the essence of wave engineering. I'm going to have a full-on blog post about this coming up, but I wanted to give you a heads up because this is the first time that I don't think anyone has ever talked about this way. This is my thesis for like research. And a lot of this research was actually powered by Cursor, really. So I want to give a shout out to Cursor because they were the ones who provide a lot of research credits for me to start digging in and start to try anything I want, right? They just said like, here's tokens, go spend them. And I've been doing a lot of agentic engineering, trying to figure out where the future of things are going. I like the concept of loops. They're really cool, but I think they're somewhat incomplete. And I think there's a bigger wave here. Yes, I did say that on purpose. There's a bigger wave that I think people are kind of missing out on that I think is going to be the future for how we are going to be able to utilize the randomness of these agents. And I think it's not going to be about focusing on these little small pragmatic things, but more about how do you then send them out to be useful for you. And sometimes you may not have all the information, and that's okay. It's about kind of shaping, like seeing what the waves run into and getting that feedback from the world, because that's kind of what we're doing every day anyways, as human beings and as what we do here. So that's what's up. It is still in its early stages and it's not officially released yet. It's currently in a really private, it's in my GitHub repo, right? So it's like, while it is public, I'm just going to basically you're the first time hearing about this through this live stream, I'll have some official video kind of cut up for this. If you want to start playing with this right now, just go to check it out, https://rfr.me/skills. And so if you click this link here, this will take you to my skills repo, and this is where it's installed. And so I have this built in right now for Cursor, and it's coming up for Codex as well. Codex does a really good job of this. The only difference between the two is that Codex is only one model, and you can customize your Codex to have open source models or other models that feed into it through the config.toml. And that's a little bit of a harder type of thing. Cursor has one that's built into its own plan, so you can do that type of thing with local subagents and all this other things. Their orchestrator is also really good. I'm going to be adding into the other platforms, but this central skills repo also has some of the other stuff that I have combined in here, and I'll go into more of those details a little bit later. But I just want to give you a heads up on that, because I think this is some of the sauce that is really going to change the way that a lot of people talk about spawning AI agents. And it's so cutting edge that you're not going to hear about it on YouTube. You're just literally watching me do this research live. And it's a combination of many conversations I've had with engineers, agentic coding myself, talking to people at these different frontier labs, and like using their software, but also trying to synthesize everything. This is actually, so right now Missions is currently actually running my app right now and doing some automation and taking over my computer to launch the app and test some stuff. So what you're seeing there is kind of, that's what's going on. And so I've learned a lot from the factory folks, like the guys who like made Missions. And I think Missions is probably the most powerful implementation of like this wave engineering. So wave engineering is kind of a small sliver of features that is offered, right? Like the full package is realized here in Factory's software, right? So Factory has built the entire, that's why they're called Factory. They're literally making the software factories for the future. And the way that they're doing that is they're thinking through every single part of the software development lifecycle. So that includes how you do the planning, who is testing it, how it's being tested, how is the code being written, how are you able to control the agents in a very pragmatic way so that you can constantly have repeatable results no matter what you're trying to work on. So mission is like one big part of that, which is probably the biggest part of most organizations. You have project managers, you have QA teams who are verifying, you have engineers who are validating, and writing the code and so forth. So you have pretty much a lot of that baked in, all of that being tracked autonomously, which is insane, and is running. And you can bring your own models. You can use the models that are built in. You can take advantage of the latest frontier models and slide them right into these different processes, and they just work, which is kind of insane. And the other crazy part is their agentic harness has always been frontier, and they're always pushing the boundaries for those things. So I feel like the full system realized is already what's already happening in a set of Factory Missions. You can bring your own keys. You can use their subscriptions or not. You can do all that type of stuff. I've have been kind of experimenting with these techniques, and it's like, can I make a research version of this? And this is how kind of Waves was born, right? Waves is kind of where I'm focusing a lot of my efforts instead of loops, where I want to try to utilize the randomness of the models to my advantage, right? Utilize the environments that these agents run in to see if they can actually produce really interesting results. So yeah, they're separate concerns, but this is kind of where it's all coming from. I used to be an engineer at Apple. I worked there for 12 years. And now basically kind of building apps on my own, doing independent research. I go back and forth between the Bay Area and Hawaii. So you'll see me here in sunny California, and you'll also see me bright and sunny in Hawaii as well, in these different places. I'll be hanging around for the next couple of weeks in the Bay Area. So if you're going to be at the AI Engineer event that's taking place this next week in San Francisco, that's going to be the event to be at. So I think it's the end of June, beginning of July is like the beginning, of the AI Engineer event. There's going to be about 6,000 plus people who are going to be attending. It's pretty much everyone that you've seen on Twitter who have been posting about AI, every single company who's probably involved. It is like the mecca and epicenter of where AI is just kind of booming, and it's kind of insane. So I will try to, I'm working with Swix, the person who's actually running the event, to see if I can do an IRL stream. So I'm working on getting a media pass to see if I can take you through different places and find people on the floor, maybe after the talks as well, take you to the back rooms and talk to people. and then maybe do some interesting interviews. So I'm working on this format to do an IRL stream, like your famous streamers like Kai Cenat or something who are, walking around. But this is going to be like for the AI version, right? So I love this technology. I'm going to see if I can get my buddy Alex Volkov to join. So Alex Volkov runs a show called Thursday AI. If you're not familiar and you really want to get super into the weeds of these things, Thursday AI, THURSDAI. He has a show every Thursday where he covers the latest of open models, frontier labs, image models, every single thing that you can get wrapped up on. That guy covers it. He's so detailed, extremely technical, runs a great show, has a great format. Highly recommend. Really great people too. And I'm going to try to see if I can get him on the floor, maybe co-host with me so we can go around and talk to people, which would be really, really fun. So that's going to be coming up. A lot of good stuff coming up. If you haven't had a chance, definitely, join the community and so forth. StartMyAI, rfer.me/StartMyAI. Free community to join in there. For the OG folks who are on Discord, there's nothing going on as far as like me shutting it down. It's just there for the early folks. I think the first couple hundred people who got into the Discord, you got the paying stuff, like you're in there. So you're good. So I do participate that. That's kind of like our little closed circle of friends because you guys were the real ones from the very beginning. I definitely appreciate that. So we'll have some more stuff going in. Where am I with GLM 5.2 running? So I think I gave a little bit of an overview of where the app is. Basically, it's currently being tested right now. We got that going on. What plan for the cursor ID are you using? I'm currently using the Ultra plan. So the Ultra plan gives you I think it's $200 of credits technically, but they have you can use more. Like they usually give you more. Composer 2.5 is pretty much like I have not seen people run out with it, and I think people go in fast mode now because it's so hard to run out using Composer. So yeah, Composer is a really cool model, and I really like that. Networking 101. If you want a good book on networking, I would highly recommend this book, Never Eat Alone, from Keith Ferrazzi. It's probably the book that I think I learned for how to meet people. And I think his book, he's a marketer, and he comes from a world of just, if you are a connector, you actually end up being a person who can get into rooms that most people can't get into because you end up hosting parties and things. So one of the interesting things about hosting a cocktail party is that you can have people that come in at the beginning and new people that come in at different stages, and then they can kind of co-mingle and interact with each other. And so these are people that you kind of want to meet anyways. So the whole goal is to try to put people in the room who've been talking about wanting to meet each other. And you're the conduit through that, right? So because of the people you know in your community or you get to know, then you can start to kind of bring them in, right? So if you have two high profile figures that have never been able to meet each other, but you know them both, you can put them in the room and then eventually make that opportunity. Hey, Rick, I want you to meet Ray. Or hey, Elon, I want you to meet these guys from Cursor. I think you should talk to them because they're working on something cool, especially with training models. I think that could be really good for your company. Go off. And then then your relationship with them also increases in two different ways, because then something really great. But you're just constantly doing this all across the board with all your friends. Those friends would then recommend you. So whenever something needs to happen, they're they instantly drop everything and want to work with you because of you become a big node in that bigger network. So I think that's really valuable. It's not networking for the sake of networking. It's actually networking for the sake of genuinely trying to help people in what they're trying to do in their lives, and you have that genuine desire to try to help them, right? So you're actually want to see them successful. You want to see these two people successful in their business, and you actually genuinely think that this can actually be really cool, right? You want to see this happen in the world. So that's what you are really kind of doing in essence, whether it's a cocktail, whether it's a party, whether it's whatever it is, just being genuinely interested and friendly and helpful does take you a long way. And that's the way you should think about networking, not just this happened to me the other day at a event I was at. Immediately the person starts pitching their startup, and okay, I was okay, I empathize with them because I know they're in this mode right now where they have to grow their company. So they feel like this is the way they have to present themselves. Every single time they see someone, they hi, what's your name? What do you do? Okay. I work on B2B SaaS growth, I was okay, no. I was it's cool, man. I don't really, how can I help you? I'm not, so, it's it's kind of an interesting thing. It's not really about, how these people like are like, I could tell they were really trying to get adoption and wanting someone to try their app. And it's like, just tell me about you. Like, what's your whole mission? Like, what brings you here? How do you got started with this app? Well, like, why is this idea going to drive you crazy for the next 10 years of your life? And you're going to be away from family and friends, like to build this thing. Like, what's the most important thing there, right? So that's kind of why I like to talk to founders that way. It's like, aside from what you're doing with the app can change like 10 times between now and the next 10 years, right? So it'll become very clear as they go through things. And there might be someone in my network that I know that can help them at that stage of where they're at. So I then point them together and say, hey, you should talk to this person because that person can help you at this stage of where you're at right now. Done. Like it's pretty cool. And that is just really fire. So let's see. Can you give a detailed review of Cursor $20 plan, like the approximate mixed model usage? Right now I haven't used the $20 plan exclusively to know enough as of the current state in 2026 June. So I think like actually if you want to sign up for it, you can get $25 of credit if you I have a referral code. While I get some credits, I really don't need them because it doesn't really benefit me right now because I do have research credits, which are good, but you do get, I think like $25 of credit. So rfer.me/cursor. If you click that link, I think you get some credits back. Just try it out. Let me know. Like if you do try it out and let us know, like let the community know at StartMyAI. So I started the school community so that way others folks can kind of join in and also help out because there's only so much of me, but there's way more of you and everyone's trying different use cases. And I want you to try it out because I should not be the sole arbiter of AI. It's all of us working together, kind of helping each other out. So go ahead and check out this school community. It's free to join. All you do is go in there, start sharing what you're working on, like check in, help each other out. If you tried the $20 plan, like share your experience. Like I used it, it sucked, or it worked really well. I got to use this model this much, but like, it's not that it sucks, but you also should be really like think through, be more intentful, don't say, okay, I tried, it sucked. It's like, that's not really helpful for the community. What's helpful for the community are things like, I tried the plan and I tried using Composer 2.5 only, and I was able to get 4 billion tokens before I burned up my $20 plan. It's like, okay, that's very helpful. Because for those who don't know, when you use Cursor, they do give you like additional bonus of stuff on top of it. So that is what it is. But yeah, definitely try that out. I would say definitely go check out, get started on the basic plan. I think I'll put that in here. So fr.me/cursor. Cursor. Let's see. Referral. Get $25. I think. Let's see. Cursor. Let's see. Whoops. Did I open the wrong app? Yeah, here. Let me do this. So 50% off first month. You get 50% off first month and you get $25 when they buy a plan. Okay. So 50% off first month. That's pretty cool. Let me close this here. Get 50% off first Cursor. 50% off first month. Perfect. Let me post this here. So this would be into updates. Awesome. Yeah, I'll put this here in the community. That way people can see it. Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on here. It's really, really cool. So yeah, my mission is still going. I think it's still testing right now. Let's see. We have the M1. So the scaffolding is done. Now it's doing the secret keychain store. So the Mac OS destinations are Arch64. Perfect. Awesome. All right, cool. So now it's working on our second iteration here. So this is just writing code. And you can see this is what a handoff looks like when missions is handing this off to the next worker. And so that basically gives it like a JSON file or a prompt of some sort. And then it's now just using GLM 5.2. So GLM 5.2 is just writing the code now for Swift. It's working. GLM 5.2 is actually writing our Swift code. Okay. I can dig it. And then we're going to have, for 5.1, we have the validator as GPT 5.5. So what is it? Swift concurrency errors, the UI test, the main actor is isolated. I used the wrong wait for existence overload. Let me rewrite the test correctly. Okay. Found it. Okay. This is cool. This is really cool. Yeah, so GLM 5.2 is writing our code, and then GPT 5.5 is just validating it. And this is going to keep going until it finishes the entire app. And so the entire app we're going to be building is the real-time transcription and translation app for Mac OS and iOS based off of this design screen. And I gave it some of the documentation. It did all the research. It built out all the features. And Factory Missions is just now building the whole thing. So as of now, we've used about 20 million tokens. And so that's kind of what we've done there. It's been running for about 42 minutes. So average per milestone is about 8.5 million tokens and about 42 million tokens for feature or so forth. So yeah, so we have 42 million tokens per feature. So that's about, yeah. So by the time this feature is done, I think all 5 features, like, yeah, interesting. Cool. Love the streams, man. So crazy. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Terry. It's been so long and they're working. It's crazy. Yeah. No, it keeps working. And I quit the app. I restarted it. Just said continue. And it just continues. And I know that it's going to be on track to do whatever it needs to do. I think that my favorite part is the fact that like I could just leave it alone. I don't have to babysit it. I'm literally going to go touch grass. I'm going to leave this stream. It's been 3 hours and 15 minutes, right? Most of the time we were just yapping and doing other work while this was already going, right? Like this, I haven't even had to play with this for a little while. This is just me checking up on it. But like I was taking care of other work, like telling you about this, telling you about my designs. We were looking at, our Wiki stuff. We played around with the factory Wiki stuff. This is so crazy cool too. And, we updated our wave engineering stuff. And I'm probably going to finish that blog post today or whenever, right? Like, we talked about the community so folks can join the community there. And what else? We are crushing it today with like all kinds of stuff. So yeah, my goal right now is that I'm trying to do live streaming every single day as much as possible, right? So if I could stream at night because I have to go out for dinner, like tonight, I'm going out for like a lunch/dinner in San Francisco. So I won't be available for the rest of the day. And then, tomorrow I'm going to try to stream early. So I'm going to try to stream early, but also I know some folks who are at night. So I'll try to go back and forth, but most of the time I'll try to stream like at 8 in the morning, or 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, because the gym opens at 5:30 during the middle of the week. So I can hit the gym at 5:30 and then come back, make sure I'm fed and everything. So by around like 8 or 9 o'clock, I could probably go live, which would be super fire. Unless I got a bunch of things where I have to travel to the city in the morning, that's kind of where things would be superseded. But I'm going to be around also doing an IRL stream for the AI engineering event. 6,000 people will be in town in San Francisco. The who's who of everything of AI is going to be taking place at AI Engineer. That's going to be crazy. I'll get to meet a lot of people, and I'll be doing, I'm trying to work on getting an IRL stream going there. Also going to be, doing all kinds of stuff here. So that's what it is. A lot of cool stuff that's going on. I'll be working on an up and coming cohort. I've been trying to figure this out where I can do it, but I might want to do it in person because a lot of people are traveling in from out of town. So it might be at the end of this week or sometime next week. I also head out to Hawaii on July 2nd. So that's another thing. I've got too many overlapping things that I don't want to overcommit because I got a lot going on, but a lot of cool stuff is happening. Also, make sure you join the community. My name is Fernando, and I will go touch some grass right now while I let my droids, my droids are shipping software right now. They're already on worker number 3 is now doing the next set of work. We're doing the app shell design. It's already done the keychain. Like this is going to keep going. So GLM 5.2 is just going to keep working and shipping and writing our code. We have GPT 5.5 verifying everything, Opus 4.8. It didn't take us much time to get this whole thing set up. It was really easy to configure. And this is probably the best way to take advantage of the GLM 5.2 stuff right in here. So, all right, folks, I'll catch you in a little bit, and let's see you tomorrow. Peace out, y'all.